At the 66 Steps, I'm Matea Cunningham. This is ZNS.
We are one faith, one family, one future.
This is your television pastor, Bishop Barry B. Morris, just wanting to share with you that the winds of change are taking place all around the world. When we look to our neighbors in the north, change is happening. We are changing every day. Life is changing for us. Paths that we have taken or have to take brings us into new seasons of change. Some of those changes bring joy and happiness. Some changes bring sadness. Sometimes change is hard to adapt to based on how change is brought about to us. Some of us are forced into change, and then others are guided into change. And then sometimes change is just the path that is welcomed for greater things to happen. And so it is of this change that I speak to you today, as this will be my last time coming before you as your television pastor for this particular ministry of Lifeline of the Church of God of Prophecy. In the wisdom of the bishop, the program is taking a new direction. And in that direction, my path is now changing into other things. I thank God that for the past 21 years, I was able to serve in this capacity. It was with prayer and consecration and thoughts about you that every program that I led was done to impact your life with the Word of God and to expose the will of God to you. I want to let you know that God still has a plan for your life and that your life is meaningful. You are worth something good to God. And I want you to tread in those pathways that God has made for you. Love the Lord with all of your heart. Stay strong. Look into the future with bright hope, because God's plans never cease. God's plans for you are so sure, and he stands by it with such authority. The scripture says he watches over his word to perform it. So, from now until then, in another place, I wish to say to you, keep on keeping on. Or as in the words of the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58, he says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the works of the Lord, for as much as ye know, your labor is not in vain in the Lord." So until I see you in other places, and until we see each other in other programs like these, I want you to stay on course, be steadfast, be unmovable, always abounding in the works of the Lord. For as much as you know, your labor is not in vain in the Lord. God bless you.
Shall at Rusty Bethel Drive. I'm Paiswell Forbes. This is ZNS.
It's What's Trending with Jimenita Swain and the Bahama Beauty at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas from Studio A. It all starts right now.
Hello and welcome everyone. It's Monday, April 7th, and you're tuned in to the ultimate destination for all things lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between. I'm Jimenita Swain, and you're watching What's Trending, the show where we bring you the latest trends, hottest news, and insider tips on living your best life. Whether you're here for fashion, food, fitness, or the latest buzz from social media, we've got you covered. Let's dive in. The global stock markets have been in a tailspin today, driven by escalating trade tensions between the United States and China. President Donald Trump has threatened to impose a 50% tariff on Chinese goods unless Beijing withdraws its retaliatory 34% tariffs on U.S. products. The impact is being felt worldwide. The FTSE in London fell to its lowest in a year, dropping 6% at one point. European share prices are plunging while Asian stocks are experiencing their worst drop in decades. The market jitters reflect growing concerns over the ongoing trade war and its potential global economic fallout. Well, back home, in a surprising political twist, former Prime Minister and Killarney member, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, won't be renominated by the Free National Movement for the upcoming general election. Party leader Michael Pintard dropped the news at a press conference yesterday, revealing he's asked Dr. Minnis to step into a more advisory role as an elder statesman. Pintard says the former PM will now focus on guiding party strategy and offering insight on government policy. Guess it's time to pass the baton. And today, April 7th, marks Girl Me Too Day, a powerful day of awareness and solidarity created to honor the voices of women and girls worldwide. It recognizes their courage in speaking out against harassment, discrimination, and violence. Today encourages people to stand together, share their stories, and amplify the call for equality and justice. Today we'll see events focused on social media, campaigns, and discussions to highlight the ongoing need for change. It's a reminder that the fight for safety, respect, and empowerment for girls continues. Well, we have a jam-packed show for you today. It's World Health Day, and our focus is on maternal care and ensuring the right diet for pregnant mothers. And the Bahama Beauty is in studio to give us all the details of what transpired on social media over the weekend. This and so much more right after the break. You're watching What's Trending.
At this year's Long Island Mutton Festival, both locals and visitors alike were treated to a taste of the island's famous delicacies.
We're here this weekend to celebrate mutton. Long Island is always known for mutton. This is something that we look forward to every year. This year we have made the festival bigger and better, and we're just aiming to go forth in that same direction. This is our 6th annual Mutton Festival. We started back in 2018, and every year it just gets better. We have Bouncing Castle, Kitty Corner, we have culinary demonstrations, we have mixology demonstrations, we have farmers market where we have local artisans on site showcasing their artwork, their straw work, the produce that they grow. Our festival is just to grow in the right direction, especially for the vendors.
Firstly, the star of the show that everybody has been waiting for, I did a whole roasted goat, and then after we carve up the goat, I also have a demonstration of me cooking a creamy polenta along with curried mutton.
So today, I made a Casamigos, Reposado, hibiscus, and a rosemary margarita. You know, pairing this cocktail with, a mutton entree creates a harmonious blend of flavors that enhances, this overall culinary experience here at the Mutton Festival. So, the margarita's floral and herbal notes complement the rich and savory taste of the mutton. So the mixology component was well received by locals and visitors. Nothing brings people together like food and beverage. What made it even better for them was, we used the local moonshine. And they were very happy to know that they can now consume moonshine in a cocktail rather than just drinking it straight up.
For more tourism updates, visit Tourism Today or Bahamas.com. I'm Michael Miller, and this is Tourism Today.
Today is World Health Day, celebrated every year on April 7th. This year, it kicks off a year-long campaign focused on maternal and newborn health. The theme, Healthy Beginnings, Hopeful Futures, is aimed at urging governments and the global health community to intensify efforts to end preventable maternal and newborn deaths and to prioritize women's long-term health and well-being. The goal, ensuring every woman and baby not only survives, but thrives. Joining us via Zoom to explain why this observance is so crucial is Dr. Eldana Bosson, the Pan American Health Organization and World Health Organization country representative for the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Dr. Bosson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start with why this observance is so important.
So this observance is important. Ever since 1950, countries have asked WHO to have a World Health Day, where there is an opportunity to kickstart a campaign to last for a year. It starts on the 7th of April every year, but to focus some attention on some global health issue that is important globally. As you said, the theme this year is Healthy Beginnings and Hopeful Futures, and we're looking at maternal deaths, maternal health, particularly women when they're pregnant and up to about 6 weeks after, and also the health of the newborn. Why is it important? Because it's a problem. It really is. Globally already, we know that there's about one preventable death every 7 seconds. Every 7 seconds. If we come closer to home, Latin America and the Caribbean, last year, this last few years on average, we've had 7,200 deaths, mothers, per year. That is almost one maternal death every single hour, just in Latin America and the Caribbean. And if now we look at the newborns, if we look at the data, we see that amongst children who die age 5 or less, more than half, 57% of them, die in that crucial period, just 28 days after birth. So by any stretch and any measure, maternal health and the health of newborns is an issue globally and closer to home in Latin America and the Caribbean.
So how can we prevent this, seeing that this is a year-long campaign here within the Caribbean and Latin America, as you mentioned, of which the Bahamas is included?
Right. So it's something that we all have to tackle. It's government, yes, but it's also communities and societies. First of all, things like education for women, for them to be able to make the right choices about their bodies, about their health care, access and provision of health care. And that includes not just at the time of pregnancy, but before antenatal care. Women need to know and understand why they must seek antenatal care for their health, for the health of their children. And so there's many things that can be put in place to ensure that women have the care that they need, they have the access that they need, they have the education to understand what they need to do, and they have the support of the community around them as well. All of these are very important.
Is there any specific thing that countries like the Bahamas should be focusing on, particularly, or just those, just our better outcomes, or just the elements that you mentioned recently?
Well, there actually are some things that the Bahamas is already doing. For example, for us to actually know what's going on, and for us to know if any of those things that we're doing is making a difference, or if we need to change tactics if they're not, they have to monitor. and look at what the rates are all the time. And they have to do that accurately. And they've in the process of implementing a new system to do that. I'm sure in coming months you'll hear more about it. It's called SIP Plus, where we're able to monitor the health of the mothers and the children. And that's important for the country to know if we're on the right track, if things are getting better, things are getting worse, if we should continue what we do, if we need to change what we do.
And are you able to say lastly what events WHO has planned to keep this critical issue front and center?
Oh my goodness, there's so many in different parts of the world. I've been in contact with colleagues, and to kickstart today at least, press conferences, articles in the papers, posts. Ministry of Health have been doing conferences as well. Unfortunately, our Minister of Health is out of the country today, but they do have a lot going on. They are strengthening maternal and child health. They're moving towards the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis. So there's lots of things going on and things that can't happen in a day, which is why this is the kickstart. And things have to continue during the year to see it through and to bring fruit to what they're doing.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Basson, and for sharing these important insights with us. Wishing you all the best as we continue our discussions on this vital issue.
You're most welcome. It was indeed my pleasure as always.
Well, coming up next, dieting and how critical it is for pregnant mothers. Stay with us.
I'm a striping group of companies. We have been in Exoma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
Well, as we continue to focus on maternal health, it's important for pregnant mothers to eat properly, as nutrition during pregnancy affects both the mother's health and the baby's development. The baby's growth relies entirely on the mother's diet for nutrients, as malnutrition or deficiencies can lead to low birth defects, low birth weight, or developmental issues. In studio to speak about proper dieting during pregnancy is dietitian and nutritionist Shandira Smith. Welcome to What's Trending, Shandira.
Thank you so much.
Awesome to have you here with us today. So what should a balanced meal plan look like during pregnancy?
Okay, so during the first and second trimesters particularly, let me do the first one first. So the mother, so let's imagine a plate, all right? So half of our plate should have on non-starchy vegetables, a quarter should be protein, and a quarter should be starches. And as she progresses during pregnancy, especially during the last trimester, it should be a third carbohydrates, a third protein, and third vegetables. And so when we talk about the vegetables, the non-starchy vegetables, they're like lettuce, cabbage, tomatoes, broccoli, cucumbers, When we talk about proteins, your entrees, whether it's plant-based or animal-based, that's fine. Then the starches, we want her to choose complex carbohydrates or complex starches. So we want to lay off the white stuff a little bit, choose more of the, if you're eating rice, try to use the brown rice. So if you use white rice, try to add some peas or beans and to give it some more fiber, because fiber is really important during pregnancy to avoid constipation. And then when she has the protein, we want it to be the lean proteins. And we want to use cooking methods, everything except frying. And this is an effort to help her to be able to control her weight and not to develop any complications during pregnancy.
So are there particular foods that a pregnant mother should eat more of, I guess, based on the trimester, or not really?
Somewhat, yes. Through other pregnancy, we want to particularly focus on fruits and vegetables because they have a lot of the antioxidants and those and different plant substances that really promote good health and development in the baby as well as for her during pregnancy. Also, some healthy fats for the baby's brain growth, and development, and yes, the protein. The protein is also very important, so she needs to get sufficient of that as well. So there's a quite a full plate during the first and second trimesters, and during the third trimester, where the growth and development is faster in the baby, she needs to eat more of those particular nutrients.
That makes sense. So what are the most important nutrients a pregnant mother would need, and how can she get them from her food?
Okay, so folate is one of the most important ones, particularly in the first trimester, even before she's pregnant, all right? And this is to help to prevent a condition called spinal bifida, where the baby's neural tube is affected, so it doesn't develop properly. And so the mother should have enough food, and she can get this from foods like peas and beans, green, leafy vegetables, nuts, a whole variety of foods. Bananas, pears will have a lot of folate in it. And then there is iron, really important. That particular one doubles during pregnancy. And so, of course, iron you get from peas and beans, from your meats, nuts and seeds, as well as whole grains. And then, of course, she needs to get sufficient energy, which she can get from starchy foods, cassava, potatoes, pumpkin, rice, pastas as well, plantain. Also, when it comes to, so that's the iron. Yes, and she would need to take an iron supplement as well, because she may not be able to get enough from her foods.
That was going to be my next question, if you would still need to take your prenatal vitamins if you are eating well.
Yeah, so even if you have a balanced diet, we encourage you to take your prenatal vitamins just to ensure dietary sufficiency or adequacy during your pregnancy. Because sometimes women may be ill during pregnancy and their appetites may be decreased, or they may get sick, and so they may need to take an extra of these nutrients just to ensure that everything is fine with them and the baby.
Now, which foods or drinks should be completely avoided during pregnancy?
Alcohol.
That's number one.
Yes, caffeinated beverages like sodas and coffee, and also foods that are high in fat, sugars, and salts.
What about people who like, I know some pregnant women who still want to have the coffee. Could they do the decaf? Would that work for them, or just don't bother with it
at all? Don't bother at all. The best thing to do is avoid it. Yes. And sometimes people use coffee just for the energy boost. So even if they have a banana or an apple, it provides the same benefits. Yes.
That makes sense. And so how should a diet be adjusted after delivery, especially when the mother's into that breastfeeding mode?
Yeah, so during breastfeeding, she would need more protein. And so she would need to, just up her protein needs just a little bit more, and also water. They're the two main ones. Of course, energy as well for the carbohydrate foods, but particularly water, because she needs sufficient, well, she's letting on water, so she needs to put in more. Right, and the protein to ensure the milk is produced and everything. Yes.
All right, so are there foods that also help with the postpartum recovery and the milk production?
Well, definitely. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, they're like it for everything. All right, so yeah, she should maintain eating sufficient fruits and vegetables and make sure it's different colors, not just the same ones over and over again, to ensure that she gets all of those nutrients and a benefit from the nutrients that she would need.
And obviously, talk about some of the side effects if you don't eat properly during pregnancy, because sometimes people don't think about the emphasis being placed on eating properly, but what happens if you don't do it?
Yes, I'm going to backtrack way, but so before pregnancy, right? So we like to encourage women of childbearing age to ensure that they have enough folate in their diet. So we talked about the folate foods earlier. And so that will help to prevent the spina bifida. And so as she progresses in pregnancy, we talked about avoiding the foods high in fat, sugar, and salt. They will help to prevent gestational diabetes, as well as pregnancy-induced hypertension, eclampsia, and preeclampsia. Yes, so that remains what we want. Yes, and also to do an effort to avoid her gaining excess weight, where she may develop other complications in terms of delivery. So we want her to gain, well, depends on where she starts off. Where she starts off as underweight, normal weight, obese, we try to limit the amount of weight, or what we have recommended weight for each of those categories.
And do you find that most mothers are, I guess, they make the necessary adjustments based on your recommendations?
Sometimes.
So what would you say is the greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge,
if you would label it as a challenge.
Yes, the greatest challenge is getting them to eat sufficient fruits and vegetables, drinking enough water because they like the sugary beverages, and also eating, well, a lot of starches, refined starches especially, and the sugary foods, because they like to say they eat for them and the baby, so they eat excess amount of food, and that can cause excessive weight gain.
And you definitely don't want that.
No, we try to avoid that because a lot of women die from complications during pregnancy, especially if they are obese, and we want to avoid that as much as possible.
And that's the key focus, obviously, this World Health Day, the health of the mother and the child. And obviously, like you mentioned, nutrition plays a key role in that.
Yes, and yes, definitely. And we also want to encourage them to breastfeed because that helps to prevent the baby from dying within that first 6 months particularly, and it also helps to decrease the infant mortality rate. So we want all mothers as much as possible to breastfeed their babies.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up, or you think you covered all of the key elements that everyone, especially mothers, need to bear in mind?
Oh, and we need them to be active, all right? Don't see pregnancy as a time to be lazy. We want them to be active because the more fit they are, they have an easier delivery. And just for their overall fitness and well-being, we need them to be active.
Because I think some people feel that, well, you're pregnant now, so you shouldn't do stuff. But I think they say if a woman has been active, like if she regularly goes to the gym, she can continue, but with modifications. Right?
Yes, yes. But a woman who hasn't been active, she can do light exercises, of course, guided by her health professional, our whole health professions team at the clinics, because yes, we have them there, so they can help her and guide her as the best exercises. The only ones that will be excluded will be the ones that may have complications or situations that prevents them from being as active as we'd like them to be.
Okay.
And so we want them to follow the doctor's guidelines as much as possible.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Shanjira, for these vital tips that you have shared with us that will help, obviously, mothers and babies, especially on this World Health Day.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Well, the Bahama Beauty joins us next with all of the weekend buzz. Stay with us.
Diet-friendly special.
Hello everyone, this is Tony Williams back with a special promotion for BahamasAir.com and GoGo Florida. The $100 deposit is back, but it's only on your debit card. So whether you're renting that sedan, SUV, or spacious minivan for group or family trips, keep your cash in your pocket. Only Dollar Thrifty is making it convenient for you. Your $100 deposit held on your debit card. Available at Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and Orlando. Book now and save big all summer long.
The Bahama Beauty is in studio to tell us what was buzzing on social media over the weekend.
I'm the Bahama Beauty, and here's What's the Buzz for this week.
Aisha Howard finally speaks out publicly after a rumor stormed social media over the weekend that Anthony Edwards is looking to pay all 216 child support payments up front for their 7-month-old daughter.
I have a child by a very successful artist, right? I'm viewed as a certain type of woman because I'm beautiful and have a nice body. And normally women like that attract a certain caliber of men, which is also not my fault. I read comments that say, oh, you're a gold digger, or you kept the baby for a check. What if I came to y'all's pages, right? And I compared the men that you have children with to the men that I have children with. And I said, you were digging for poverty when you picked him to be your baby daddy.
And although the rumor may not be true, Howard is currently still embroiled in a heated support battle with her child's father. There has been no final determination as yet. Pop sensation Chappell Roan has been stirring the pot with some headline-making moments. Chappell found herself in hot water after sharing her candid thoughts on parenthood during the Call Her Daddy podcast. She remarked that her friends with children seemed unhappy and exhausted.
But kids, all of my friends who have kids are in hell. I actually don't know anyone who's like happy and has children at this age. I have like a 1-year-old, like 3-year-old, 4 and under, 5 and under. I literally have not met anyone who's happy, anyone who has like light in their eyes, anyone who has slept. They are so sweet and so supportive and come out to shows, and like they have to get babysitters to come to my shows.
As expected, a chorus of discontent came from parents who felt her comments were a bit off-key. Some defended her, noting she was merely sharing personal observations, but the debate highlighted the ever-present tensions between women with children and those who promote the child-free lifestyle. And Cassie, former partner of Sean Diddy Combs, is set to testify against him in his upcoming sex trafficking trial. Unlike other alleged victims who have chosen to remain anonymous, Cassie has decided to use her real name during her testimony. Her decision to testify publicly comes after her 2023 lawsuit against Combs, in which she accused him of rape, sex trafficking, and physical abuse during their relationship from 2007 to 2018. In May 2024, CNN released surveillance footage from 2016 showing Combs assaulting Cassie in a Los Angeles hotel corridor. The video depicts Combs grabbing Cassie by the neck, throwing her to the ground, and knocking her. This footage corroborated Cassie's previous allegations and brought renewed attention to the case. Combs is currently facing multiple charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking, with his trial scheduled to begin on May 5th of this year. Prosecutors anticipate that Cassie's testimony will be pivotal in the proceedings. Cassie's choice to testify under her own name highlights her commitment to seeking justice and may inspire other survivors to come forward. If you would like to be a part of What's Trending, DM us on Instagram at What's Trending on ZNS.
Diet-friendly special.
Hi, Phil Swift here for the Flex Seal family of flood protection products. Our flood protection products are specifically designed to work together in order to create multiple layers of super strong protection. All these windows, doors, seams, and openings have all been sealed up tight. Now there's a new way to protect your home or business from damaging floodwaters. Get the removable Flex Seal family of flood protection products.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their insights and stories with us. As always, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. with more exciting guests, thought-provoking conversations, and a lot of laughs only on the ZNS network. See you later.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. The search intensifies for a missing Grand Bahama man. Plus, an elderly man found safe after disappearance. The family tonight is breathing a sigh of relief. And the Consumer Protection Commission warns about deceptive practices by unregistered businesses.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Reports just in confirm that a male has been shot and killed in the Chesapeake area. Details are still coming in at this hour, but what we do know is that the incident has turned deadly. Again, this is a developing story and details remain sketchy at this time. We will continue to follow this situation closely and bring you the latest updates in a later newscast. Meantime, the search is intensifying tonight for a 24-year-old Grand Bahama man who was reported missing on Sunday. According to reports, Dudley Gilbert Jr. was last seen around 8 p.m. on Saturday, April 5th at his residence on Brink Hill Road. Gilbert's family is now calling on the public to come forward with any information that may help locate him. Authorities are ramping up their efforts as concerns mount for his safety. Shane Stubbs reports.
It's in this area where the vehicle driven by 24-year-old Dudley Gilbert Jr., affectionately known as DJ, was discovered on Sunday, April 6th. Now, according to reports, DJ would have left home the night before to go get food for his mom and himself, something routine and seemingly uneventful. But by morning, concern quickly turned to worry when the mother discovered that her son, neither the car, had made it back home.
If anyone has seen anything, heard anything, or knows anything, to please, we need your help.
Pleading on behalf of the family, DJ's cousin, Asher Quant, says once they noticed the bizarre disappearance, relatives immediately commenced search efforts.
She called my dad, and he went out immediately to start looking. My uncle also joined in. He picked my aunt up so that they can search together. And eventually, they found her car. The car was unlocked. The keys were still inside.
The car was discovered near a beach access point close to where his late father, Dudley's water sports business, once operated, prompting an immediate search of the shoreline.
And she saw one of his Nike sandals. That is when she knew something just wasn't right. She contacted the police right away.
A video currently making the rounds on social media shows a young man kayaking in the Pindus Point area. Now, in the footage, what appears to be a red cloth is visible on the shoreline. However, family members say they cannot confirm whether or not the individual in the video is DJ. Now, despite reports that the car was found in the Lucaya area, a Pindus Point resident claims to have spoken with him recently.
Me just, I'll say being inquisitive, I approach him by asking him where he come from in this kayak. He said he just come from 200 miles. So I said to him, I said, but brother, you can't do 200 miles in a kayak. I asked him where he going. He got me going, he going over to Bimini, he going over to the Stakes. He got to go. I said, my brother, you can't cross that passage with not water. You need water. So to me, seeing him in the right state of mind.
According to Quant, DJ has been grappling with the loss of his father since September 2023. Now, the family is pleading with the public, urging anyone with information about DJ's whereabouts to come forward. DJ is described as standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, of slim build, dark complexion, and sporting a low haircut. He was last seen wearing a red long-sleeve shirt, black shorts, and Nike sandals.
We just really, really want DJ home.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs.
And as that investigation unfolds, police have escalated their response. It is no longer just a missing persons case. Authorities have now launched a full-scale search and rescue mission for 24-year-old Dudley Gilbert Jr. of Grand Bahama. ZNS News spoke with Superintendent of Police Stephen Rowe, who confirmed that search and rescue efforts are actively underway following Gilbert's disappearance on Saturday, April 5th.
The police are doing searches for this missing man. We've been assisted by the defense force. We have officers on the ground who are checking the beaches. We have someone up in the air, in the airplane, who's going to assist with checking the waterways. And like I said, we're going to search for him until we are satisfied that we've done due diligence and try to locate him. And we're asking anyone with information who knows his whereabouts to please contact the police at 911 or 919. I wish you all to a flyer, if not already been done, will be sent out very shortly for the media to be circulated so that we can assist with trying to locate this young man.
Well, in another case, with a more hopeful outcome, a family in South Bohemia is breathing a sigh of relief. That's after their 83-year-old loved one, missing for 24 hours on Friday, was safely located. The elderly man had wandered away from home, prompting a community-wide search. Tonight, the family is expressing heartfelt gratitude to the public for their support as they now take measures to prevent a repeat of the ordeal.
That night, when I found out that he was missing, I was like, no, this can't be real. It's like, how?
Anita Lightbourne, still clearly distressed, sharing the heart-wrenching details of her father's disappearance on Friday. She explained that her adult children were responsible for watching him that day, but the situation quickly took a turn for the worse.
My son had to step out, and then my daughter was left here with him. And she made sure she checked his bed, see that he was there. She took a bath, went back to check on him, and she said all of a sudden she knew he was gone.
83-year-old Lawrence Moss had been staying with his daughter since March following a recent dementia diagnosis. Thankfully, he was found a few blocks away from his home in the South Bohemia area Saturday night after a community member saw this Facebook post, which had garnered nearly 400 shares.
Someone heard sounds in their yard that she went outside. She heard this groaning. When she went outside, she saw my dad laying on her grass, and she said when she put the flashlight on him, automatically she knew that was my dad because of the posts I post on Facebook.
Moss is currently in the hospital receiving treatment as his health had taken a blow. However, Lightbourne says she's grateful to the community for their efforts in ensuring her father was found alive.
Sometimes, we feel that people don't care, but I saw for myself, I felt for myself. His colleagues, his taxi colleagues, they came around and they had a crew around my area looking for my dad. My church, they said the prayers. Everybody just was so active.
With a growing concern over missing persons on the island, the situation was understandably alarming. Still shaken by the ordeal, Lightbourne says her family is relieved and now taking proactive steps to ensure something like this doesn't happen again.
When he gets back in my care, it has to be like a round-the-clock situation. Their main concern is really on them, that make sure they're safe and they're out of harm's way and stuff. So to those who are dealing with it, I know it's very difficult, but you have to put your loved ones first now.
In crime news, a homeless man with a history of arson is back in custody. 33-year-old Kervin Honoré has been remanded to the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center after being charged in connection with a string of fires near the International Bazaar last month. He was brought before Acting Deputy Chief Magistrate Charlton Smith on Friday, facing 4 separate counts. Police Press Liaison Officer Superintendent Stephen Rowe provided these details.
One of them being arson of a building. And this occurred between the 6th of March to the 28th of March. 2 counts of endangering property by negligent use of fire and causing damage to utility poles, the property of Grandmama Power Company.
Those matters, he was not required to enter to a plea.
He was not required to enter a plea and is set to return to court on May 12. Roll also explains why Honoree was sentenced to Sandilands as opposed to the Bahamas Department of Corrections.
The magistrate was his discretion, like based on guessing on his assessment of the defendant. He saw fitting to remand him at Sandilands for evaluation, and once that is completed, he'll reappear for further assessment and continuation of his trial.
And while authorities work to protect communities, the Consumer Protection Commission is warning the public to stay vigilant. Executive Chairman Senator the Honorable Randy Roll is sounding the alarm on business owners who are charging VAT without being registered and failing to turn over the tax to the government. All businesses earning over $100,000 are required to register and charge VAT. Roll says more consumers are complaining about fraudulent practices that could lead to legal consequences.
We're working closely along with Inland Revenue and Consumer Affairs to ensure that individuals who actually pay VAT, those savings are going, or those monies are passed on to Inland Revenue. So I can tell you that all stores should have a VAT certificate. Once they are VAT compliant, should have a VAT certificate that is usually up in the store. And so we ask consumers to also look to see if they see those VAT certificate whilst they're shopping.
Meantime, the political climate continues to shift on Grand Bahama. A former member of parliament under the Free National Movement is responding to recent statements made by Hiram Lewis following his departure from the FNM to join the Coalition of Independents. Shelia Roll is in studio and picks up the story from here.
Following his announcement to resign from the Free National Movement and join the Coalition of Independents, Central Grand Bahama Member of Parliament Hiram Lewis suggested that former Lucaya, now Central Grand Bahama MP Nico Grant, formed an inner circle after failing to receive support from the party. However, in a strongly worded statement, Grant is dismissing those claims, calling Lewis' assertions incorrect. The former MP explained that the establishment of Nick's Team Lucaya was born out of strong enthusiasm and dedication from individuals committed to the prosperity of Lucaya, now Central Grand Bahama. He says that the team was not formed out of desperation, but rather a shared aspiration to promote progress and positive change in the constituency. Grant also pointed to his 21 years of active community engagement, noting that many people, some even outside of the area, expressed interest in joining his campaign team because of his long-standing commitment to service. This statement reads in parts, the suggestion that I needed to form an inner circle due to a lack of support is not only misleading but also disrespectful to the many volunteers and supporters who have consistently stood by me. I stand by every decision and action I have undertaken, guided by integrity and a genuine passion for service. Grant further emphasized the importance of remaining focused on the bigger picture, empowering and uplifting the residents of Central Grand Bahama. He concluded by noting that if Mr. Lewis needed information about his team, a simple phone call could have sufficed. My home phone number has been listed for 54 years, he said, and my cell phone number has remained unchanged for 33. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shelia Roll.
And still to come.
A 3-day job fair wraps up on Grand Bahama Island. We will have details of that story and sports highlights when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
Hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country, pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse. The people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank, built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians, Bahamians helping Bahamians.
Come on down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison.
Get ready for the Freeport Business Expo Tourism Edition 2, happening May 1st and 2nd. Network, explore, and grow with top industry leaders. Register today at freeportbusinessexpo.com. Spring into savings and take advantage of Majestic Retail's Yellow Tag sales. Save up to 20% on smart TVs, tablets, Fire Sticks, mini split AC units, pedestal fans, and so much more. They're located in the bonded area. Call them at 351-3936. A deal is guaranteed at Majestic Retails.
JS Events and JMC TCI presents 8 Mile Rock Homecoming. Sunday, April 20th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock. Featuring live KB, T-Mac, Kino D, Wilfred Sullivan. Backed by the top tier band. Music by Kiko T.
Live on the turntables.
8 Mile Rock Homecoming also presents the Last Man Sitting Domino Tournament. Special guest appearance by the Swingers Chocano Group. 8 Mile Rock Homecoming. Sunday, April 20th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime at 8 p.m. Tickets are $20 at the gate. Don't miss it. Sunday, April 20th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock.
Let the party begin.
I see it. My work is on. Use a bin to put it in.
Let's keep it clean.
Yeah. Put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. No, yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not on the streets. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Bombastic side-eye. Criminal offensive side-eye.
Put it in the trash. Put it in the trash. That's it, that's it. Put it in the trash. Just put it in the trash. That's it, that's it. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Yeah. We just gotta keep Grand Bahama clean.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
Welcome back. A successful 3-day job fair concluding on Grand Bahama. The event, a collaboration between the Department of Labor and Grupo Anderson's Bahamas, saw a strong turnout of applicants, exceeding the expectations of officials. With a focus on filling some 600 vacancies in the food and beverage department at Carnival Celebration Key, Princess Flowers, officer in charge of the Public Employment Service Unit on Grand Bahama, expressing her excitement about the many opportunities now available on the island.
On the first day, we had over 150 persons that were registered and interviewed. Yesterday, we had just under 200, and today we're only halfway, and we've already seen 120 people. So we know that the persons who were unemployed or those who were seeking reemployment, they came out, they had their documentation, and they were interviewed. We are also proud to say that we saw persons coming in from surrounding islands. Persons also came from Abaco. I even saw persons who say they were from New Providence. Persons who may have moved away but now want to come back home because employment opportunities are available.
Human Resources Director Holman McDonald thanking the Labor Minister for the opportunity and reported another high success rate for the applicants.
We were able to identify at least another 80% persons who got the yeses from us during these past 3 days. We're happy that Grand Bahamians got these opportunities to join the Grupo Anderson's team. The opening is going to be in July, so we're looking forward to every individual that got an opportunity to be a part of this team.
Well, it is now time for your Health is Wealth Monday tip.
Autism Awareness Month is celebrated in April. Autism spectrum disorder is a complex medical condition that affects communication, behavior, and social interactions. It is called a spectrum because it includes a wide range of symptoms and abilities, varying significantly from person to person. The exact cause of autism is not fully understood, The studies have shown a combination of genetic and environmental factors may play a role. Despite common beliefs, autism is not caused by vaccines. Diagnosis typically involves a comprehensive evaluation by healthcare professionals. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and remember, your greatest wealth is your health.
Well, that's your Liquid Stories making news. Jay, what's coming up in sports?
Well, the Carifta track and field trials wrapped up on the weekend in New Providence. I'm hearing some 70 athletes from Bahamas made this team. Let's see how many athletes from Grand Bahama would have been named to this year's track and field Carifta team.
Wow, good news there, Jay. Well, sports is coming up next, but first a check on your local weather forecast.
Tonight's weather forecast is brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
'Cause it's so beautiful.
Here at Island Bedding, we provide Bahamians a local option for factory direct quality sleep products. We have also expanded to include a range of furniture and home accessories. Check out our new living room pieces, including sectional, TV stands, accent tables, and more. Come on down to Island Bedding and feast your eyes on prices you have to see to believe. Located at number 5 Queens Highway, across from Caribbean Veterinarian.
Guess what? Budget Pest Control has something important to show you. Cock the termite's former Salmus, the super termite. What makes them super? Their ferocious appetite can attack your home from below and above. They even attack forestry. But don't worry. Budget Pest Control has extensively studied this species on Grand Bahama. You can even check out our scientific paper. So you can count on us to protect your investment. Call Budget Pest Control, the termite specialist.
Hey, what's up, Grand Bahama? KB here. Hey, it's your boy D-Mark in the building. Jump and dance, and hey, this is Gino D. Hello, Wilford Solomon here.
Grand Bahama, what's up? Yours truly, Tico T here to let y'all know Sunday, April 28th, we are going to be in 8 Mile Rock.
It's going to be on Jonestown Fish Fry at the Sunset Village. To Grand Bahama, you all know I love you all so much.
Gates open at 7 p.m. I'll be in the house with all the Rakish great generals.
Back by the top tier band.
Gates going to open at 7 p.m. Show start properly at 8 p.m.
You will enjoy yourself.
8 Mile Rock homecoming.
Here at Freeport Decorators, we have hundreds of products for you to choose from. Whether you're in the market for trophies, plaques, rubber stamps, corporate signs, any kind of interior signage, stamps, or seals, we're your one-stop shop. We feature glass, acrylic, crystal awards for every occasion. We build all the trophies here on site. Looking for a gift item? We feature pens, key rings, mugs, tumblers, barbecue tools, even bamboo cutting boards. Have something already? Bring it on down. Let us see if we can print that special something on it for you. Need a headstone? Memorialize the memory of your loved one with a beautifully lasered granite marker. Our store hours are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. We focus on customization. So if you have an idea or a new concept, bring it on down or call us at 352-5557 or even WhatsApp your idea to us at 646-0777 and we will do our best to make your awards and recognition ideas a reality.
Are you ready? I'm ready.
I am ready.
I am ready. I am ready.
Ready or not, it's here. That's right, the biggest gospel show with me, Uncle Fee Baby Boy, on 8:10 a.m. That's right, interviews, greatest songs, praise and worship. It's going to be exciting. We're going to take the Bahamas to the world and bring the world to the Bahamas.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to sports. Well, first in sports, Carifta Swim Championships is scheduled for later this month, April 19th to the 22nd in Trinidad and Tobago. 15 athletes from Grand Bahama was named to the team, including Kamaya Sanders, who will be competing in the 13-14 age group for Team Bahamas.
Last year, I swam the 200 breaststroke. I didn't play, so hopefully this year I'm hoping to place. And I got gold in the 50 and the 100 breaststroke, and I'm hoping to maintain that title. Practice has been pretty good. I've been definitely pushing hard because, I want to come first and represent my country really well, and I want my country to be proud of me.
Nateo Sanders will be competing in 9 events in the 11-12 age group.
I feel confident. I've been feeling good in practice. So, you have to have the right mindset going into it. I feel good. I can go there and do good. There is nerves, but, every swim meet comes with nerves, so you just have to learn how to get over it and swim good.
Next in sports, the B3 is expected to field its Carifta track and field team that will be competing in Trinidad and Tobago during the same Easter holiday weekend. With some discrepancies now on the athletes expected to be named to this year's team, the Grand Bahama Amateur Track and Field Association President Emmett Higgins clarifying on the selection of the team.
In order to be named to this team, you would have had to, 1, qualify, 2, be in the top 2 place finishers at the trials, and 3, if you are an athlete abroad that would have attained the qualifying standard, you must, and you're not able to make the trials, you must submit a letter of exemption. And you must finish ahead. Your times or your jumps must be better than those finishing in the top 2 in order to be a part of this year's team.
And that's your quick check on sports. Your Facebook friend of the day is next. I'm Jay Philippe. As always, be blessed.
What is Business Fit? Business Fit is a group health insurance package offered by BAF Financial. What are some of the benefits of Business Fit? No deductible, dental and vision care, hospital room and board, surgical treatment, labs, medication and drugs, maternity, doctors, clinics, specialist visits, chemotherapy and radiation treatment, air and ground ambulance, and preventative care. Business Fit, offered by BAF Financial.
How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new room?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
While others see customers as numbers, we see our customers as people, neighbors, friends who deserve more than one-sided connections. That's why we are redefining what real connection is by prioritizing our customers and showing our appreciation by putting our money where your loyalty is. ATC customers, claim your $200 Bahamas Air gift card when you add postpaid mobile to your internet plan. That's loyalty that flows both ways.
Are you ready? I'm ready.
I am ready.
I am ready. I am ready.
Ready or not, it's here. That's right, the biggest gospel show with me, Uncle Fee Baby Boy, on 8:10 a.m. That's right, interviews, greatest songs, praise and worship. It's going to be exciting. We're going to take the Bahamas to the world and bring the world to the Bahamas.
Your number 1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that is going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Raven Davis.
I'm Jay Philippe Raven. I'm loving the new hairstyle, by the way.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas tonight. Next.
The Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting
is partnering with the Bahamas Christian Council to help build stronger Bahamian families.
I believe that our ultimate experience in living begins with God and family.
Our purpose is to facilitate, guide, inspire, and equip you to have a better life.
And a strong family foundation begins with each of us trying to become better individuals.
Let's unite for a stronger Bahamas.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, leading Bahamians from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the governing party's national chairman and the opposition leader Trey Barbs as the Free National Movement looks to get its house in order. Also, come on home, a no-nonsense warning to Bahamians living in the United States without proper documents. And groundbreaking for a snazzy Family Island resort within sight. We have the details of what's to come and when. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report starts now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. As global recession fears swell amid a deepening tariff war, the Bahamas gets the news of an improved credit rating. In terms of what's behind the revision, what it means for us, our AltaV's Munnings joins us live in studio with the details. Aldo?
Some good news tonight just for the entire Bahamas on the economy, Makushla, and just the kind of news the government welcomes. Credit rating agency Moody's has revised its outlook for the Bahamas from positive to stable, in the process affirming its B1 rating. The backed foreign currency senior unsecured rating was also affirmed at AAA. Moody's citing in a statement that the change in outlook reflects the increased likelihood that fiscal consolidation will strengthen the Bahamas' credit profile over time. Now, behind the agency's confidence is the fact that the government has already implemented a substantial fiscal adjustment, as well as its commitment to maintain what it calls large primary surpluses. And that's all thanks to revenue-enhancing reforms, like enhancing tax compliance and additional revenue from the introduction of a 15% top-up tax on large multinational corporations operating right here in the Bahamas. Moody's is convinced this all augurs well for the Bahamas, and so much so that it's expressed confidence that the country's debt will continue to head south, sitting at below 70% of gross domestic product by 2028 from 76% in 2024. Now, of course, barring the absence for future shocks. If sustained, this improvement in fiscal position will in turn lower gross financing needs, which in the Bahamas are very high, and Makushla, ease liquidity risks.
Well, also, I think a reasonable question for many Bahamians out there did Moody's indicate any factors that could further upgrade us or even worse, downgrade us?
Well, Makushla, in layman's terms, Moody's says in order for the rating to go up, the government must continue its fiscal consolidation, the good track record that it's continuing now, and for the rating to go down, the government will have to stop continuing its fiscal consolidation, and in turn, bad news for the economy.
Well, easy enough there. Thanks, Alto. On to other news this afternoon. On the political scene, on the ground our Lloyd Allen got on the ground in the Killarney constituency this afternoon to canvass the views of residents on the FNM's decision not to run its sitting MP in the next general election. Listen in for the reaction.
A major announcement coming in from leaders of the Free National Movement over the weekend not to support the nomination of current Member of Parliament for Killarney, the Honourable Hewitt Minnis. Do you think it was right?
Not getting a nomination, I think that was injustice to him.
because he's an excellent MP.
After you try to compete with him, I think that would cause the issue right now.
I think that he should receive the nomination because he saved many, many lives during the COVID. If you already had a position 2, 3, 4, 5 times, then you already had your amount of turns. So at the end of the day, nothing's wrong with it. It's called politics.
Do you think that conversation with the party and minister should have been behind closed doors?
Yes, it should have. They shouldn't put their dirty linen in public. They could have handled that much better. Yes, they could have it in private because me, for one, I go in with Hubert Minnis. If he go independent, where pending, when pending, or whatever pending, if he go back F&M, I still going back with him. And all my children going back with him. He did something, but I think he could have done more.
He did something. I can't say that he didn't.
And an important question as we approach 2026, will you support a new representative from the Free National Movement?
No, I won't. I would not, because Dr. Minnis was and is an excellent MP in this area. No, I wouldn't support him. If it ain't Dr. Minnis, I ain't supporting him. I go in with Dr. Minnis. Whichever way Dr. Minnis go, I'll go.
Right now, I live neutral.
I think anyone that wants to do right by his community is worth giving a chance.
And here in the Gambier community, this roadside vendor on Curtis Road says she hopes that the party simply resolves any challenges moving forward in the best interest of Bahamians. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Well, thanks, Lloyd. Meantime, the opposition leader tonight giving a little more details on his party's direction following Sunday's announcement. With that angle, we turn to our Devontae Hanna.
Tonight, despite what many call bad press for the Free National Movement, its party leader is making it clear that the party is feeling as strong as ever.
You say despite, I say we are intentional about the steps that we are taking to retool our organization. We have heard from the Bahamian people in 2021. They want better. They want an improved version of the FNM, and we intend to be better than both the Progressive Liberal Party and our recent set.
It comes as the party's previously reported internal disputes now leave former Prime Minister and Killarney MP Dr. Hubert Minnis off the FNM ticket come 2026. Further to that, former FNM Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis is now siding with the coalition of independents. However, tonight, the party hits the ground running in Grand Bahama with a zone meeting. The Marco City MP says the FNM plans to tackle economic growth and development.
And that is the number one issue in Grand Bahama's cost of living, and there's a need for us to remove any of the red tape that's hindering investment by Bahamians and investment by foreigners in Grand Bahama, and creating opportunities for ownership and employment for Bahamians.
The party since Wednesday held the majority of the seats on the island, which Mr. Pintard says brings them closer to solving the issues and ultimately cutting that red tape.
That means, again, reforming the way we do business in central government and dramatically reforming the way we do business with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Both central government and GBPA, the municipal government, needs transformation.
The zone meeting is one night only, with its deputy leader Shannon Don Cartwright and its youth arm also addressing attendees. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
Well, as it just indicated, the Free National Movement is signaling that it is ready to face the Progressive Liberal Party in the next general election, and this despite its internal woes spilling out into the open. The latest in-house issue FNM's faces getting rid of their former leader, as widely reported. And as Corval Pyfrom reports, both parties continue their attacks on each other.
It might have been FNM leader Michael Pintard's wish that the main takeaways from his rare Sunday afternoon press conference, rather than talk of its former leader being axed, would have been his scathing swipes at the PLP, of which he took several.
They are unable to produce the future that we desire and we deserve.
Pintard repeated some of his familiar talking points against the Davis administration in front of a standing room only crowd at the party's headquarters, alleging, among other things, this government is corrupt.
But the PLP ignores the law. You know and I know there's one law for them and it's another law for everyone else.
He also hammered the administration over what he considers its improper awarding of contracts.
They directly award, or what we sometimes call single source, contracts left and right, skipping the competitive process.
The most corrupt organization in this country's history is the FNM.
PLP Chair Fred Mitchell was today annoyed when asked about Mr. Pintard's charges.
So tell him, go fly a kite with that nonsense. He can beat that drum as much as he wants. If you want to spell corruption, it's spelled FNM. That's all I got to say about that.
Mr. Mitchell, however, does seem to take some delight in the current Minister debacle with the FNM, and while he says it doesn't concern him, he does admit he's nonetheless entertained.
It's a dynamic and fluid political situation. From our point of view, we again are sideshow to this. I mean, it's just entertainment as far as we can tell. And we encourage them to keep breaking up the dollhouse. Good for them. You know, couldn't have happened to a finer bunch.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pipe.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country, pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse, the people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank, built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians, Bahamians helping Bahamians.
This one? No. Hey, look, KFC has an incredible promo.
I already had that for lunch.
Crunch your hunger cravings and satisfy the whole family with KFC bucket meals starting at just $20. Get freshly prepared golden fried chicken, buttery biscuits, and add your favorite large size. Bucket meals starting at just $20. KFC, finger licking good.
While others see customers as numbers, we see our customers as people, neighbors, friends who deserve more than one-sided connections. That's why we are redefining what real connection is by prioritizing our customers and showing our appreciation by putting our money where your loyalty is. BTC customers, claim your $200 Bahamas Air gift card when you add postpaid mobile to your internet plan. That's loyalty that flows both ways.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time. Limited time.
How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new room?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
You're looking at a shot of the British Colonial Hotel that sits in the city of Nassau. Welcome back. Another motorcyclist loses his life on the streets of New Providence. Police said the rider was seriously injured when he collided into a lamppost on Shirley Street near Highland Terrace before 1 a.m. Monday. The unidentified man was seriously injured in the process. He died in hospital a short time later. In other news, the Bahamas Consul General in Miami, Kurt Hollingsworth's encouraging Bahamians living illegally in the United States to make the necessary arrangements to return home. It's either that or risk being apprehended by U.S. authorities. And this as White House officials have declared that all undocumented immigrants are considered criminals. Hollingsworth's also urging this grouping to ensure that all documents related to their current U.S. status are current and to keep thorough records of their immigration status. The Consul General's advice follows U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, releasing a report last November indicating that there were 426 undocumented Bahamians living in the U.S. Now, as for how many of them have reached out to the Consul General's office?
We don't have any record of anyone seeking assistance with respect to their state. We have had individuals who have called in to just basically renew passports and that sort of stuff. You know, the normal daily protocol service or consular service that we have to offer. Outside of that, we haven't had any extreme cases. And I think, too, people are hesitant to reach out to.
Hollingsworth goes on to note that many illegal immigrants living in the U.S. are seriously concerned about being deported.
Anxiety here in the United States right now is unbelievable. It's very, very stressful for a lot of people. And that's why it's important for payments to take the necessary step to ensure that all their documents are straight.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump hasn't just caused a frenzy with his attempts at establishing a new economic order, but also his hardline stance on illegal immigration, which has already led to thousands of deportations. Bahamians living in the United States, particularly those without proper documentation, now find themselves scrambling and panic now setting in. The Foreign Affairs Minister says these Bahamians have been making attempts to get Bahamian passports, but many are running into challenges.
Since 1973, or didn't pay attention post-1973, you know that the rules changed in 1973 about who can get a Bahamian passport. And that means you have to show antecedents either through your mother or your father, depending on whether you were married or whether you were born in the Bahamas, born within a marriage or in the Bahamas, or whether you got your citizenship by descent.
Minister Mitchell says he's received complaints from Bahamians abroad that the process to acquiring a Bahamian passport takes too long. However, he says applicants will just need to pack some additional patience.
We're very particular about making sure that only Bahamians, as defined in law, get the passports. So people who are in this position have to exercise appropriate patience as we wade through all the documentation which is necessary for this. So that's the only issue which I've seen.
Well, amid much fanfare, the Davis administration last September signed a $55 million loan agreement with the Saudi Fund for Development for the refurbishment of the North Electoral Airport. Those plans called for the project to be completed within 18 to 24 months. Fast forward to the here and now, and the government has nixed that arrangement. And Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, chalks up that decision to the Saudi fund being slow and bureaucratic in its process.
Alternative funding in order to expedite this project. That funding is already in place. Island Airport Development Company, the company that is building the Bimini Airport with impressive works ahead of timelines, are making significant progress. We've invited them back to the table to consider the redevelopment of the North Electoral Airport, and we have signed agreement, and the money is in place with Plenary International Fund, and we anticipate that that work is going to begin shortly. We expect to have already delivered some preliminary works to ease some of the pressure at North Electoral Airport, and we're preparing for the construction of the state-of-the-art passenger terminal. We expect shovel in the ground this quarter on a projected completion date in mid-2026.
Now, work on the runways of the Governor's Harbor International Airport, also part of this arrangement. As Minister Cooper explained, the government is considering a public-private partnership to correct long-standing issues at the Rock Sound Airport.
that it is important that we coordinate the works in Governor's Harbor and in North Eleuthera to ensure that there's always an open gateway for the arrival of air traffic. So we are going to be working to stagger these works between Governor's Harbor and North Eleuthera. And I make these points to alert you that you will not see work starting tomorrow. Work will begin this quarter. North Eleuthera will be the priority in terms of getting that done, given that that has been a source of significant concern, and it's one of the busiest airports in the country. Governor's Harbor will provide relief when that work is going on, and once the airstrips are completed in North Eleuthera, we will get the work done in Governor's Harbor.
Meantime, in just under 2 weeks, construction set to begin on the multi-million-dollar Ritz-Carlton project on Eleuthera. That from Cotton Bay Holdings construction manager Daniel Zolida, who says groundbreaking for the resort is planned for April 14th, with some 450 jobs in the pipeline.
We have equipment on site, contractors mobilizing, so we are full steam ahead. One of those key facts for those that are not familiar with the project, the DPM already mentioned them, is we're bringing 110 guest rooms, 97 residences, increasing the size of the project in almost 30% for what was forecast back in 2021 when the agreement was signed with the government.
The resort is also expected to be 100% solar in order to offset challenges with power outages and disruptions on Eleuthera.
We have a commitment with the government of supply 30% clean energy. But being the case, we just move a step ahead and step forward, and we are creating a 47-acre solar farm that will supply 100% of the 10 megawatts we need for the resort.
Stay with us. The National Report returns after this.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Folk Call Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new room?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station. Open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
This portion of the news is brought to you by 700 Wines and Spirits, bringing celebration across the nation.
Well, it's about time to check in with LaDonna and Marlena for a sneak peek of what's coming up in Access Now.
Well, Kusula, it's National Library Week, and get this, a local librarian is sharing all about the field. Marlena, what genre do you like to read?
Oh, my favorite genre would probably be fantasy. I love anything with like some dragons, you know, adventure.
Dragons?
What about dragons? All the fantasy.
Well, Kusula, you genre.
I like history. I also like literature, you know, like in terms of African literature yeah. But I love history though. And I'm glad that libraries are still alive.
Yes. All right.
So stay with us. The National Report is back after the break.
Diet-friendly special.
What is it? Oh, ghost pepper burger. Chicken. I always at Popeyes, so me just come and taste the chicken. Wow. Nice, crunchy. This is off the chisholm.
Wow, that is way better than I expected. Very spicy, extremely spicy actually. The bread is very soft. The chicken is juicy. Yeah, that's spicy food.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Well, that does it for the National Report, but stay close. The Bahamas Tonight continues with Access Now.
Did you know the National Insurance Act provides for an insured pregnant woman to access her maternity benefit before or after delivering her baby? Expecting mothers are entitled to 13 weeks of maternity leave, which can be applied for by completing the Med-2 claim for maternity benefit form. Section A is completed by a registered physician or certified midwife. The medical practitioner certifies the expected or actual confinement period, signs the form, and affixes their official stamp. Forms completed by medical practitioners outside of the Bahamas must be accompanied by the physician's business card. In sections B and C, the claimant provides personal and employment details, declares their last day at work, signs and dates the form. The Med-2 form is always accompanied by Form Med-4 or Employer Certificate, which is completed by the employer. Both the Med-2 and accompanying Med-4 forms must be submitted within 3 months from the first day of confinement. Forms submitted outside of this period are considered late and will be subject to review by the Late Claims Committee. Before submitting forms, check that all fields are accurately completed. Incomplete forms or forms with incorrect information will delay the processing of your benefit application. For more information, visit the NIB website at nib-bahamas.com.
The Bahamas Department of Aviation successfully engaged over 120 aspiring aviation professionals in its third cohort of the Bahamas Aviation Agency's Service Excellence Training.
On the 1st of July 2023, we launched the first ever National Aviation Strategic Plan. There were 8 components of this plan. 2 of them were to, first of all, strengthen our strategic partnerships among our agencies, inclusive of our aviation agencies, our supporting agencies, our law enforcement, our FBOs, our aviation academy students. So strengthening strategic partnership. The reason why aviation in the Bahamas is now the prototype, the model for the industry, is because we have been intentional, not just about developing our product, but developing our people. So we looked at gaps in the industry, and one of the gaps that we always hear as a service-driven industry is the gaps in delivering service, customer service excellence. So what we would have done for the first time in aviation history, we brought all of the silos of aviation together, all of our airline partners, and we are exposing them to global best practices in service excellence. At the end of the day, we take ownership of the experiences of all of our stakeholders, our internal and our external customers, and the day is a part of that nationwide launch. This year we will train in person 300. We will have 1,000 trained virtually, and we believe that if we adopt this approach, it's going to totally transform aviation in the Bahamas.
For more tourism updates, visit Tourism Today or Bahamas.com. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
Trinity Christian Academy celebrates Bahamian History Week. Looking forward to that story.
And April 6th to April 12th is National Library Week. We've got the details for you. Stay close.
Plus, the Pilot Club is celebrating the Selfless.
And coming up in sports, Day 3 of Carifta trials wrap up.
The Bahamas Tonight Access Now starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis.
And I'm Marlena Leonard. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
We're at a brand new week in the month of April. Top of the week to you, Marlena.
Top of the week to you, LaDawn.
All right.
I'm looking forward to a fantastic, productive week here on the Hill.
I am as well. And with that said, let's dive right into the news, shall we? Trinity Christian Academy delving into our country's past this morning as they kicked off their Bahamian History Week celebrations. American activist Maya Angelou once said, "You can't really know where you're going until you know where you have been." But guest speaker, a Bahamian historian, Dr. Christopher Curry, put it this way.
You know, we would be a rootless people if it were not for our understanding of our past. So what is good about this event is we have a whole week of history, culture, and literacy where students can learn about their past, and they can learn about some of the most important books that have been written about the Bahamian past. And they've been encouraged to be critical thinkers.
Junkanoo pioneer Arlene Nash Ferguson imparted the origin of Junkanoo to the students, noting its prior use as a tool to help slaves feel at home while being held captive. Aiden Sweeting, fifth grader, drummer at the school, regrets he's never rushed on Bay before, but instead brags he works at a straw market with his father, sometimes a passing point for Junkanooers. This day, though, the first of the week that will conclude with a book fair, picnic and dress-up day, was one that taught him a lot.
You can know more about our culture and our origins and our ancestors and descendants.
Stick paper onto our clothes, shake our bells, and beat our drums in this magnificent festival that tells the story of the strength of the people of the Bahamas. This is Junkanoo. Don't ever give up. Our ancestors never did, and that is why we are here.
April 6th through 12th is considered National Library Week, and all week long, students across the country will grab a book and analyze it during one of the school's book club sessions. The Access Now team stopped by the library at the T.G. Glover Primary School and met students there engaged in story time. Head librarian Monique Otaji is one of the 10 highly qualified librarians in country. She says hundreds of students are drawn to the library.
Generally, we're here from like 8 to 3:30. Students come into the library, they return books, etc. During that time, students can do research in the library at that time. But the majority of our students would actually borrow their books during that time.
Otaji says there's no shortage of libraries in country, but the manpower to oversee them is in limbo. She says she hopes more Bahamians choose to pursue a career in the field.
A librarian has to come in with a first degree and then go on to library school. We need training. We need new librarians. We need librarians in the private sector, in academic libraries. We need librarians in our schools, but especially our schools. We've had a library cadet program that I've seen not really attracting a lot of people to the profession, as I would say the nursing cadet program or the police cadet program. However, I'm thinking a lot of librarians would be attracted to the profession if we have more librarians in the school. Many of the librarians who are actually librarians today became librarians because they've actually had a librarian in their school.
Was about celebrating the selfless as the Pilot Club of Nassau hosts a special luncheon in honor of caregivers. The event, held at Old Holy Family Parish on Robinson Road, is the first in nearly 6 years for the organization and is what event coordinator Saritha Clark calls a tribute to the unwavering dedication of those who care for others every day.
Each honoree will be receiving a plaque, a basket, and within that basket there are some goodies and also a monetary contribution so that they can go afterwards and treat themselves or treat someone along with them. It's just our way of saying we appreciate what you are doing for the persons who you take care of, and we wish that you will continue to provide that service.
President of the Pilot Club International, Nicola Dawkins, says that even though the Bahamas may be considered a small island state, the good work exhibited by its residents through organizations such as the Pilot Club proves that the country is rich in compassion, spirit, and community.
Wherever I go, and I'm going to Japan tomorrow to see my Japanese pilots, wherever we go, I always get, boy, the Bahamas is doing very well. The Bahamas is doing great things, and I think that is really pushing the other clubs to do better. Not that they weren't doing well before, but it's pushing them to step up their game, you know? So I think the Bahamas is just putting a new impetus in Pilot International.
The deadline is quickly approaching for young people who want the chance at getting involved in advancing ideas and discussions toward climate change. The Climate Change and Environmental Advisory Unit is looking for 2 youngsters between the ages of 18 to 24 to serve as climate change youth ambassadors. It's a 1-year role that will provide persons with an opportunity to participate in policy discussions, develop and engage with community initiatives, and represent the country at international forums. The deadline for applying is April 22nd, and Charles Hamilton from the CCEAU urges all young people to apply.
So ambassadors, they really will end up leading community and outreach activities within the country. They represent our country at global meetings such as COP and our climate weeks. They co-chair the Bahamas Youth Climate Change Conference, which will happen this July 3rd through 4th.
And still to come, we have more from Charles Hamilton because he's live in studio and he's going to tell you all about the Climate Change Ambassador Program. Stay close.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Minister Mr. Mario Bole.
In a high-spirited presser to announce the annual National High School Track and Field Championships, Sports Minister Mario Bole said this year's meet promises to be 3 days of an electrifying display of talent and heart.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and the B3As, is happy, proud to present the Super Club Breezes National High School Track and Field Championships, where the nation's top student athletes will go head-to-head, chasing glory and the prestigious national title. This isn't just any competition. It's a celebration of grit, determination, and shared passion. It's where records will be shattered, limits will be tested.
Education Director Dominic McCartney Russell noted that the Education Ministry's goal is not just about developing premier athletes.
When the Bahamas wins a medal at the Olympics, you cannot say that we have not won the whole Olympics. That's the kind of camaraderie that sports allows for a nation, and certainly for our children. And we want every campus to be a positive learning environment, a positive culture. And when you bring students together like that, you're able to do so.
Powered by Super Club's Breezes Resort, the theme for this year's Nationals is Breaking Limits, Achieving Greatness. Competition is slated for March 20th through 22nd, 2025. I'm Adama Williams for Ed Talk.
is the greatest gift. That's where we come in. Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies is a premier distributor of medical equipment, as well as medical and surgical consumables. Our engineers are always on hand, providing top care service that saves lives. We carry a wide selection of over-the-counter and prescription items, IV fluids, and other injections. Our products are state-of-the-art, and our entire team stays on top of cutting-edge technology. With more than 2 decades of dedicated service, Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies continues to be a trendsetter and innovator in healthcare. We have set ourselves apart by truly caring for our customers. We understand the intricacies of healthcare, and we produce spectacular results. We cherish our partnerships and nurture our friendships as we continue on our quest to help everyone maintain that wonderful gift of good health. Find us on 95th Terrace, Centerville, and now located in the Lucaya Shopping Center of Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Welcome back. Got a beautiful shot there by our drone pilot, Neville Smith. Look to the left and you'll see Paradise Island, and if you look to the right, you'll see the city of Nassau. To the left and to the right. Nice twilight shot there by Big Nev. Well, it's time for a trip to the Family Islands. Let's go. Exuma and Andros residents will be pleased to hear that the government is currently seeking construction companies to upgrade bridges on those islands. The same is being done for the island of Eleuthera, according to the Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, Honorable Clay Sweeting.
It's been out. The 7 contractors have applied, and they have been to Glass Window Bridge this week to see what they need to do to put in their bid tender package. We've already secured the financing, and we look to hopefully start preliminary works by 3rd quarter of this year at the Glass Window Bridge.
The Member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera also revealed at last week's North Eleuthera Business Outlook that the much-anticipated upgrade to the Harbour Island dock begins this summer.
Go out to the west more. We would add sidewalks for pedestrians walking. We would widen the access point, what heads out to the docking facility. There will be timber docks added for the ferry boat drivers, and also a ramp for ro-ros that come into Harbour Island. So it's something exciting. It's going to be a little painful because, you know, construction and persons coming to offload freight, but we're going to try and do it as painless as possible to ensure that Harbour Island gets what it deserves.
Some good news there for Harbour Island and Eleuthera. Well, tonight we are live in studio with Charles Hamilton, who's from the Climate Change and Environmental Advisory Unit. Mr. Hamilton, welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
Thank you very much, LaDonna, and good evening, Bahamas.
So, but before we get into the program, Mr. Hamilton, I want you to talk to us a little bit about yourself and your role in all of this.
Sure, yeah, so I'm Charles Hamilton. I am a climate change advisor in the Climate Change and Environmental Advisory Unit. So I help to provide support to the Office of the Prime Minister, ministers of government, and to other agencies to address climate change issues. How do we ensure that this issue that is seen as something out in the air that people can't grasp, how do we make it real? How do we get financing? How do we get support for young people? How do we ensure that communities are able to rebuild and rebound in the face of a changing climate? So that's my role, trying to put those pieces together.
And why was this advisory unit formed?
Yes, it was formed as a way to be able to provide technical advice and support to government to address issues of climate and environmental matters at the highest level. If we can manage to address those issues at the highest level and have those trickle down into government, things can move a bit faster. We can get the support that's needed for the country.
So tell us a little bit more about the Ambassadors Program and what's it been like over the years.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be able to see these young, vibrant, passionate young Bahamians who have stepped forward to serve their country as climate youth ambassadors. So these are persons who, you know, they have an interest in climate, sustainability, national development, and they simply want to be advocates for their peers on the national and international stage. This is actually its 4th year of the program, and we're encouraging as many young Bahamians, passionate, bright, willing to work hard to join your cohort of climate youth ambassadors. I say all of this because people, they hear climate youth ambassadors and they think, well, I haven't studied the sciences, I haven't studied climate change or the environment. Whatever you have studied in life, there's a climate rationale to it. Let's say journalism, being able to report through and cut through the media on the issues of climate change. There's a role for you. Or perhaps you're an artist, whether that's in the visual or in the musical space, being able to take your craft and be able to address the issue of climate change. Or you're in the agricultural field and you're thinking, how do I ensure that the next set of food that is coming out of the Bahamas is able to be resilient to climate change? And so do not believe that you need to be an environmentalist or a climate scientist to be a youth ambassador. You just need to be ready to fight and advocate for your country and implement programs nationally.
Now, I know you said earlier this is the fourth year.
Fourth year.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the achievements of past ambassadors.
Absolutely. We have seen some of our past ambassadors absolutely soar. From our recent ambassadors, we have Javon Sands and Benicia Saunders. These are brilliant students, one who is in Oxford doing his master's, and another one here locally doing a degree in law, because they've seen that being able to get to the forefront of climate in our country is going to require a different mode of thinking, right? We've seen the British High Commission reach out to these persons. We've seen them launch different programs across the country. We've seen them advocate and connect with young people, whether at eco camps or being able to do beach cleanups or being able to teach people how do you cut through all the jargon with climate change, right? And so each and every single ambassador has their own spin, but you can too, if you choose to apply. Apply April 22nd. You do not want to miss this opportunity.
Mr. Charles Hamilton, thank you so much for joining us here in the Bahamas Tonight Access Now, and all the best to you and your team.
Thank you very much, LaDawn. Apply, Bahamas.
Let's take a look at what's coming up in sports.
Day 3 of the B3A Carifta Trials wrapping up on Sunday night. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
Weekly specials and low about rates equal bigger savings and super value and quality. Supermarkets. Pickle tomato paste, 6 ounces, $1.09. Pastor Money pastas, assorted 15 ounce, $4.99. All chicken wings, $1.79 per pound. Bean sparrows, $2.89 per pound. Fresh lemons, free for $1. Sign up and join the Super Value Quality Digital Rewards Program at any Super Value and Quality Supermarkets location.
Custom Computers and Alive on the business spectrum, we work well together. We want to offer clients the best in technology.
What Custom Computers is offering for the Alive Business Partnership is HP Pro Small Form Factor Desktop. We're including with it the 27-inch conferencing monitor, so you can have that meeting at home or at work in a private area, just like you're sitting next to that person.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home health care supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
welcome to your Monday evening sports check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. Day 3 of the B3A's Carifta Trials wrapping up on a Sunday night at the old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium, and things certainly finished with fireworks as dozens of athletes trying to secure their spot on Team Bahamas as they head into Trinidad Easter weekend for the 2025 Carifta Track and Field Games. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Splicing Connect B3A's Carifta Trials wrapping up Sunday evening as it was the last call for dozens of athletes as they tried to secure their spot on this year's Carifta team. To the girls under 20, 800 meters after a grueling race, Akari Roberts would emerge victorious, running past the Carifta qualifying standard and winning this one in 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
First, I want to thank God, because without him, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank my coaches, my family, my friends, and everyone who has supported me.
On the boys' side would be Grand Bahamian Arkady Thompson powering past the tape in 1:58.33.
My race plan was simple. It was just to get out pace and leave it all on the track.
Girls under 20 100-meter hurdles would see the top 3 finishers all attain the Carifta qualifying standards, but it would be triple qualifier Bailey Major from Redline Athletics finishing over her teammate Darwin Dean in 14:21.
I just had to hold the speed, and then I realized in the race, you know what, let me push, let me give it all I got, and that's what I did, and I came first.
Boys under 17 110-meter hurdles, Jakara Wilson running a blistering time of 13.44 seconds, easily requalifying. Second place finisher Roman Roll would attain the standard as well, finishing in 14:77.
I feel like I executed well, and I just need to work on my hands, my last 2 is coming on.
And the boys under 20 110 hurdles, another top 2 finish that would see both men attain the standard. Jill Schmeichel and Taj Brown going 1 and 2 in 13:88 and 14:06 respectively.
My legs was already there, but the plan was just to get out and maintain a certain speed.
Honestly, the first was a yellow card. I almost false start, but I had to gain composure to come out top.
And finally, to the 200-meter finals, girls under 17 looking like one of the potential stronger divisions for the Bahamas. Top 3 finishers again attaining the Carifta standard, with the top 2 spots going to Kiazra Thomas and Briorn Ward in 23:99 and 24:08.
It was a good race. I thank God for giving me the strength to finish the race. And like I say, it was a good race. I like the competition, and I hope that me and my partner could go over there in Trinidad and do something big for our home. The objective is to get off the curve for KK. We go down the straightaway together, and hopefully, all right, thank you. I did PR, so I'm happy.
Boys under 17 200-meter final, Ian Neely running 21 seconds flat to take this race easily, surpassing the Carifta qualifying standard of 22:08.
I made sure to keep my stride down the home stretch, but I just missed that 21 seconds barrier by just a smudge. But I'm going to get that Carifta.
Finally, girls under 20 200-meter final, former Carifta double medalist Jamia Nabi looking strong heading into Trinidad. Both her and Alexis Roberts attaining the standard. Nabi running 24 seconds flat, while Roberts would take second in 24:13.
1.35 seconds. I'd say it was an okay race. It wasn't the best technically or physically. I just thank God that I finished safely and secured my spot for the Carifta Games. I just wanted to get out as fast as I can, had a good start, and I just pushed home and as fast as I could.
At this hour, officials holding a press conference at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium to unveil the team members for this year's Carifta Games. Full details in tomorrow's Sportscast. That's been your sports on this Monday. A check on weather when we return.
At Koshright, our members know that there's a lot to smile about. They know that membership has its privileges. Guaranteed low pricing on every item, every time you shop. Each membership comes with 2 cards. That's one for you and a free card for a member of your household. Gold card holders earn an annual 2% rebate up to $500. Koshright members get discounts at other participating businesses. So that's a lot to smile about. Whether it be clothing, appliances, home goods, or groceries, shop at Koshright, where membership truly has its privileges.
While others see customers as numbers, we see our customers as people, neighbors, friends who deserve more than one-sided connections. That's why we are redefining what real connection is by prioritizing our customers and showing our appreciation by putting our money where your loyalty is. BTC customers, claim your $200 Bahamas Air gift card when you add postpaid mobile to your internet plan. That's loyalty that flows both ways.
For hurricane season, we got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We'll help you brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Big 14s get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey, hey.
Fuel's the difference. Ruby's Ultra Tech in your car. Fill up with Ruby's Ultra Tech. Spend less and go far. Fuel up with Ruby's Ultra Tech. Get the most out every ride. Just watch your car perform with the best fuel inside. Fuel up with confidence in every mile. Get Ruby's Ultra Tech in your tank and drive with a smile. Watch your car perform with the best fuel inside. Fuel the difference with Ruby's Ultra Tech.
It's time now for your Access weather forecast, and the dry and arid weather conditions will come to an end very shortly, and that's because we have an active cold front moving into the area that will bring with it some showers and thunderstorms, some of which will be heavy to severe at times, particularly around Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the Bimini's, and that will start tomorrow afternoon. Some of that spreading into our area tomorrow night and will continue into Wednesday. So LaDawn and Melina, you can prepare yourself accordingly for the arrival of this frontal system. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Live Business, where we bulk up your business in the Northwestern Islands tonight. Southeast to south winds at 12 to 18 knots. The wave height 3 to 6 feet over the ocean. Your low tide will occur at 11:17 tonight, so caution flags are in place for you boaters in the Northwest Bahamas. And for the central and southeastern islands, we will have a southeast flow. The speed's not too bad, 10 to 15 knots. Wave heights 2 to 4 feet. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, in the northwestern parts of our country, the winds become south to southwest at 10 to 15 knots. This is just ahead of the arrival of that frontal system. Wave heights at 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will occur at 11:59 in the morning with the high tide at 6:02 in the afternoon. For the central and southeastern islands on Tuesday, southeast to south winds, 10 to 15 knots. Wave heights also at 2 to 4 feet. And on Wednesday, frontal boundary goes through. Winds become northwest by afternoon, picking up in speeds 12 to 18 knots. The wave height building back up 3 to 6 feet, so that caution flag will once again go up on Wednesday once that frontal system goes through. Now, the high tide on Wednesday will take place at 6:21 in the morning with the low tide at 12:41 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands, we will continue to have that southeast to south flow at 10 to 15 knots and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they're brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
Sean got the whole ass getting crazy. About 1,000 inside a bra. See when a young man come and rev that engine like car. I think she graduate with my mom. But when she call, you know, slapping the ice.
That's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But join me at 11 o'clock for a full weather update. LaDawn and Melina.
Keep that cool weather coming, Basil. So, Melina, what's with this look to the right and look to the left business? What's that all about?
It seems like the hip thing to say. So, I mean, who do you see when you look to the left and to the right, LaDawn?
Well, I see you, but... Okay, so let's check in with Matea Cunningham and let's talk socials.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matea, and this is Let's Talk Socials. If you're new here, welcome to the Social Media Hub. This is a safe space where we all hang out and catch up on what's trending in socials in under 2 minutes or less. Today, we're talking about The Social Tinker, a Bahamian YouTuber and podcaster that aims to celebrate the successes of Bahamians thriving in their fields. A classic episode of her podcast named Bahamian Banter features the host, Malak Tinker, and her guest of choice as they discuss their journey.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bahamian Banter with the Social Tinker.
Oh, my wish today.
Swakara Cash.
Let me tell you something. I flew Swakara down to Tropic of Cancer today because thank you for meeting me in Exuma.
Of course.
First episode outside of Nassau or Abaco. Tell the Bahamian audience, international audience, who you are.
Okay, first and foremost, by profession, 22 years, I am a court stenographer.
What is that?
So a court stenographer is a person who uses shorthand to write the spoken word down on a machine, and it translates it into English.
Tinker's platforms are still growing. However, her consistency in posting content is nothing less than admirable. She wants to publicize the stories, not just of Bahamian success, but of the resilience needed to withstand the trials that come with the Bahamian success. And that's all for today's Let's Talk Social. Stay tuned because I'll be on your screens this time tomorrow. Will you be here? It's a date.
Good job there as always, Matea. Look to the right and look to the left. That's all, folks. That does it for us tonight, Marlena.
Well, stay tuned for a rerun of The Rundown with Clint Watson featuring Branville McCartney.
Good night, everybody.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us again for another evening. Well, Bahamian shoppers are seeing a welcome change at the checkout counter. Cheaper eggs, that's a big welcome, right? But most of these eggs, they're coming from one of the world's largest egg producers outside the Bahamas. Super Value yesterday, slashing prices by sourcing from international suppliers. However, it raised questions about where the eggs came from. And of course, that's what Bahamians are talking about. Devontae Hanna has been following this story for us. He has an update. He joins me live in the studio tonight. Devontae, what is the latest with this egg saga?
Well, Clint, for months, Bahamians have been feeling the pinch at grocery stores as egg prices continue to soar, as you mentioned, but we've reported that Super Value has managed to lower the cost, selling a dozen eggs for as little as $3.79. And they credit sourcing outside the United States for it. Here's what we know. Now, while Super Value has been mum on the source of those eggs, ZNS understands the supplier is a company based in the Dominican Republic. The grocer's CEO, Deborah Simonet, has shared that the deal was subjected to observation and subsequent approval by the Bahamas Agricultural, Health and Food Safety Authority.
We would have had to obtain a permit from the agency that's responsible for approving the any products like that are brought in.
And while the United States remains one of the country's leading trading partners, Senator the Honorable Barry Griffin, Deputy Chairman of the Bahamas Trade Commission, says sourcing things like eggs in this instance just makes sense to cut out the middleman.
Many goods that are labor intensive will likely be cheaper in other countries. And that's what we're seeing, for example, in Latin American market. The labor is cheaper in Latin America, and so they're able to produce fruits, vegetables, and other commodities, for example, such as eggs, at a much lower rate.
Meantime, Simonet says more savings are on the way, especially as the government is set to introduce its 50% VAT slash on April 1st.
If we find products that are good at a good price, and we know that they're safe, of good quality, we will definitely bring them in so that we can offer customers.
Well, just yesterday alone, Super Value says that they sold about 5 containers of eggs, which they estimate holds up to 600 cases per container. They've now limited customers to just 2 to 4 cartons. We saw those photos yesterday of how the shelves were empty. And while shoppers will enjoy savings on eggs, more is on the way. We are told that shops across the country and across several products will also see those reductions.
No, I know. We know how payments go.
Yes.
We call for something to happen, it happens, and then we get very skeptical about, well, are these, eggs that have been removed from somewhere? What do we know? Because, we've seen things online in Turks and Caicos Islands about eggs that may not be good or anything. What do we know?
Well, the Turks and Caicos government actually confiscated 25,000 eggs, and it was actually an illegal shipment. It is important to note that those eggs were not contaminated, but it was just an illegal shipment passing through the Turks and Caicos Islands. It was hidden in the back of a trailer. The Department of Agriculture intercepted, confiscated, and completely destroyed. So we are certain that the eggs in Super Value did not come from that illegal shipment.
So from all indications, these are pretty good eggs.
Pretty good eggs.
Golden eggs.
Yeah. They're pretty good eggs. And like I said to Makushla, many people probably had them for breakfast this morning. Yeah. Or you probably had a donut or a cake or something that had these eggs in it that you bought yesterday from Super Value. And what we understand is that these same savings will continue across several stores. And speaking to some sources earlier today, they said, you can expect it on food items like milk, chicken, all of these things that we use constantly in the kitchen. You're gonna get a cheaper price for it simply because the wholesalers and the retailers are sourcing them outside of the United States of America.
So there appears to be this concerted effort to try and reduce the price we pay on goods.
Yes.
It's been something the government has been touting about, reducing the cost of living. So are we now seeing measures taking place actually to cause that to happen?
It seems so. And then, as we said, once you add on that 5% decrease in VAT in the coming weeks, it'll just be further savings for this administration. But rather further savings for the Bahamian people from this administration. Yeah. And they've been talking about diversifying our trade for such a long time. And now that we're going outside the United States, we're going to get low prices. So we're going to be able to get meat from places like Brazil. And keep in mind that these are places that the United States actually source the items for. So we're cutting out the middleman, which is the United States, who are simply just repackaging food items. And we're getting it directly from where it is being made. And that means that that extra couple of dollars will be in our pockets here in the capital and across this country.
All right, well, we're going to watch and see if it works. Good news all around. Yeah. And I guess we'll watch and see it. You've been asking for it, so don't criticize it and question it when that begins to happen. You've been asking for government to find some way to cut the cost of food prices at the food stores. They're looking at ways to do it, and we're actually now seeing it come to fruition. So we'll watch and see how it pans out.
And it should be a little bit more easier for people to get some more items, looking at the fact that we've saw a minimum wage increase over this last administration and so much other measures put in place. I mean, the cost of living is an issue that we cannot ignore, but when we look at BPL and all of the different cuts that we've seen in several sectors, there is an avenue for us to tackle this issue of the cost of living and ensuring that more Bahamians are able to put foods on the table, keep water and light on in their homes. And so I'm happy to see it. We'll see how long it lasts. We'll see if they stay true and provide further savings. Of course, this is developing stories that we'll follow.
And of course, we'll see if other stores are going to follow like soup. This is just one food chain. Let's see if it's across the board.
Yes, and we're told that several stores are now looking at different avenues to source items outside the United States.
All right, great reporting. Thank you, Devontae Hanna reporting. Thank you, good work. Well, tonight we dive into the political journey of a man who once positioned himself as a great disruptor of Bahamian politics, a man who founded a party promising change, but ultimately stepped away from its leadership, a man who has worn many hats, F&M, DNA, but where does he stand today? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what's next? Does Branville McCartney, do you remember that name, have another run left in him? Or has the Bahamas moved on from him as a political force? More importantly, does he even want back in, or is he content to focus on his legal career while leaving politics behind for good? Tonight, we're going to get those answers from you. No dodging, no political spins, just the truth. My guest tonight, politician and attorney Branville McCartney. We'll talk to him. We'll be here at the desk when the rundown comes back after this break. Stay close.
Hi, Hi everyone, when heading to Florida to shop for your essentials, book your transportation with GoGoFlorida.com. The $100 cash deposit is back now on your debit card. Accepted at Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach, and Orlando. Now there are lots of options to choose from, but I like the Tesla X, the electric vehicle, because I don't have to worry about gassing up. Or the Jeep Compass seating 5 with lots of space for your luggage or shopping bags. For the best deals, book now at GoGoFlorida.com, BahamasAir.com, and also available at Bahamas Air Sales Office.
Mailboat service is a critical service to the islands of the Bahamas. Certainly, Andrews has always been there and dear to us. That's where we're born and raised. And so we play a crucial role in advancing the growth and development of Andrews. Customers want service and they want consistency. From the start, that's been our commitment. We work to sail on time every time. Our customers have come now to expect this from us. And one of the biggest challenges we've had was finding adequate funding. SPDC from the very start has been a lifesaver. My advice to young people, if you have a vision, a passion, an idea, go for it. Don't give up. It's not easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it. Be consistent and you'll get there.
Welcome back to The Rundown. It's great to have all of you with us. I see all of you who are joining us in the Lion's Den. Great to have you. And then those of you watching by YouTube, watching wherever you're getting your streams from around the region, from other countries in the region and around the world, welcome to The Rundown. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Well, tonight we sit with former Cabinet Minister and DNA leader, Branville McCartney. I want to welcome him to The Rundown. Sir, it is always a pleasure to have you. Welcome here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
There's so much we could talk about. There's so much I think the Bahamian people want to know tonight. And first of all, let's just talk about how you've been over the past few years since removing from frontline politics. How have you been?
I've been trying to find something to get the gray out of my hair because of politics. I've been good, though. Taking one day at a time. Practicing or trying to practice law, cooking in my kitchen on a Sunday, and trying to enjoy life.
Do you miss it? Do you miss politics?
I miss aspects of politics. I don't like politics.
You don't?
No, not politics. Because politics takes on a different meaning, you know. I like to see getting things done for the benefit of the country. That's what I miss. I miss when I represented Bamboo Town, being with my constituents and the seniors and the children. I miss that. I miss the little opportunities I had when I was in cabinet to make a difference wherever it was for the positive. I miss that.
You served in cabinet under a prime minister that many people tout as being firm-handed in his decisions, the Right Honourable Hubert Ingraham. And while I'm calling his name, our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. He buried his daughter today, and so we do want him to know that he's in our thoughts and prayers. But you served under a man who was very firm. What was it like serving in an Ingraham cabinet?
I think it's a good experience. You have to be firm to run this country. You know, I'm always very grateful to have been given that opportunity by Mr. Ingraham. And, you know, he allowed me, firstly, I was the Junior Minister of Tourism, Aviation, had responsibility for meteorology as well as gaming for a year. Then he sent me to immigration. And it was an experience, you know, with Mr. Ingraham being a firm leader. That's what we need in this country. Firm, direct, to the point.
Do you think we've had a firm leader like him since?
In their own right, yes. in their own right. Everybody has a different way of going about it. Mr. Ingram had his way. Mr. Christie, of course, Lyndon Pindling, Dr. Minnis, and now Prime Minister Brave Davis. They have their own different technique of firmness, I'm sure. I know specifically about Mr. Ingram because I served under him in his cabinet, you know.
We look at immigration. You serve as Minister of State and Immigration, Minister of Reform for Immigration. Is this problem bigger than we think it is?
Yes. It's been there. It's been there before I even came about. I think our concern is having the political will to deal with it. We, unfortunately, I don't think we do have the political will to deal with it, especially around the political season.
What does it require? You say we don't have the political will. What does it require to address the immigration problem in this country?
I think we need to. We have certain laws that surround immigration, where persons who've been here, they have a right to make certain applications and what have you. I think we need to carry out those laws and ensure that those persons who have a right to be here is carried out. When it comes down to protecting our borders, we need to do a much better job than that, because I have no doubt a lot of illegal immigration in terms of persons coming here illegally and living here illegally is really through the help of Bahamians who are here.
Right.
You know? So I think that has to be addressed. So if we are able to look at that, and that falls under corruption, you know?
I ask you about that.
That falls under corruption. So if we're able to look at that, I think we can minimize. There will always be illegal immigration, not only in the Bahamas, but around the world. But we can minimize it, I think. But you have to have the political will to do it.
You say political will as though there may be a connection to those who are gaining from this illegal practice.
Yeah, I mean, you have, yes, of course. I mean, you know, the Haitian population, which is the largest illegal population in the Bahamas, from my understanding, they have certain ties in the Bahamas, and especially when it comes down to elections and what have you, they have a certain block of voters. So, you know, political parties have to tread carefully when it's an election period or election cycle, because they want the vote. They want to win, and they want that vote. So there's a certain period of time when the administration of the day can deal with the illegal immigration in particular. But now when it comes down to an election time, if election is out, if you have a year and a half out, well, you're gonna tread carefully. And so nothing happens in that regard. I've seen it. We've seen it over many political cycles. Many political cycles. So, but you have to have the political will to do what is good for the country overall at the end of the day, notwithstanding politics. And that's why I said I don't like politics, because politics sometimes become very personal, or they lose sight of doing what is good for the country, no matter what, even to your detriment.
Would you, as an immigration minister, like to have done more, but felt your hands were tied?
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, yes. But, you know, I was just a mere minister.
I want to talk about what we see happening in our country and in the economy. The biggest thing, of course, is the cost of living, how to reduce it. What do you see, what is your take on being able to address the cost of living in the Bahamas and bring it down?
Well, I see you had a segment here about the reduction of eggs, and I would commend the government. I know several months ago they indicated that they're going to put in a policy where goods, food items in particular, can be sourced elsewhere. I take it this is the first step.
Correct.
And I certainly commend them for that. And I look forward to other products, other food items in particular, being brought in that vein. Of course, with the checks and balances of the quality of the food that's brought in. The electricity in this country that has been a vexing problem for many years. I know that the government has indicated that there's going to be some type of reduction.
Right.
I think for the first time, I saw a reduction in my electricity bill, I think, last month. And I thank you, Jesus. I thank you for that. But I think that's a step in the right direction. The government has spoken recently about the reduction in VAT to 5%. It's a start. So I think the government is trying, from what I see as an outsider, trying to do certain things to bring down the cost of the cost of living. What's important, though, I think there has to be more investment by the government in our greatest resource, and that greatest resource is our people. We need to build the people.
How do you do that?
So that the people can build the country. You build the people through education. Similar to what has transpired in Singapore. Singapore is very similar to what the Bahamas used to be. Singapore went from a third world country to a first world country. What Lee Kuan Yew did at that time, he invested in the only resource they had, which was their people. You build the people, and the people build the country. You build the people through education. You build them by being once they're educated and providing opportunities for them, not giving them things. You don't give people things. Giving them an opportunity or providing an opportunity for them to build themselves and the country. I'm sure you know that we lack in this country persons to do the job.
Yeah.
It is beyond frustrating to get people to work in this country. They don't have the mindset.
Yeah.
They don't have the mindset. And of course, that's why people look elsewhere to other persons who are willing and able to do the job. In this country, we have persons who are not even able to do the job. They can't fill out an application form, for instance. And then those who are able to do the job, they get paid on a Friday, have a few drinks, and have a hangover until the following Tuesday. The work ethic in this country is deplorable.
It is.
So we need to build our people. We need to build our people. We need to invest in our people and building them and demanding and directing education, discipline for us to move forward.
So having said that, are you saying then that we're looking in the wrong places for development in this country? We're saying, oh, what is government doing? Oh, I don't get this contract. Oh, I don't have this opportunity. Oh, I can't get a job here. Rather than looking and seeing, am I capable? Am I qualified? Am I willing? Am I able?
That's the first step.
Looking this way.
That's the first step.
Not that way.
That's right. You have to. That's the first step. You know, I'm involved in several businesses, and finding persons to work is a difficulty. Very, very, very difficult. We have to look within ourselves first, right? Now, of course, any government or administration, they sometimes have their people that they may cherry pick to accommodate. But the reality is, for the majority of our working population, they're not capable. That's reality. They're not capable. It's frustrating to no end. They're not capable. And we have to, as a people, take pride in ourselves, to build ourselves. And whether the government provides or otherwise, you'll be able to provide for yourself. That's how it should be.
We believe we build a culture in politics where we cloak people and we encourage this dependency on I'll give you if you give me a mentality rather than supporting people to prepare themselves to be able to take care of themselves in the future?
Yeah, well, that goes back a long time. I mean, from the UBP days.
Exactly.
That goes back from the UBP.
We've seen it every cycle.
Yeah, that goes back, you know.
So can that be broken?
It can be, but it's going. Again, you know, I like to use this word political will. And sometimes political will means you have to do certain things that may not be very popular, may not be something that the populace would appreciate, but it's for the betterment of the individual and the country as a whole. And you have to have the political will to do that, right? Unfortunately, for many cycles, we don't have that political will throughout, on all sides. You know, if leaders go in there with the idea, look, I want to better this country, no matter what, even if it means losing the next election, I'm going to better the country, I think we'll have a better country. But we go in there to win for the next time, and we lose sight of the bigger picture of developing this country, moving this country forward. It's a shame where our country is today, you know.
Why do you say that?
I've had an opportunity to travel practically around the world. I've seen other countries like the Bahamas, less fortunate than the Bahamas, but we are at a state 51 plus years later where we're still trying to find our way. When in fact, I think we should be way beyond that, way beyond that.
Do you think it has to do with the fact that for the past 25 years, every 5 years, we change our administration, so no administration is able to effectively carry out their plan?
To a certain extent.
To keep resetting. To keep it in the reset button.
To a certain extent, that can play a factor, but you know, whether administrations change or otherwise, it should be those who come in to have the mindset to guide this country for the better. And I think what I've found when we have our political leaders come into the country, come into governance, they lose sight of that. They lose sight of that, and you know, it becomes, I think, a bit more personal in terms of what can I do for my party or for me or my colleagues, as opposed to what can I do for the country.
It becomes all about
for the country,
the group of people rather than the country.
And that goes across the board, right? And if they have the mindset of what I can do for this country to move this country forward, then, you know, they would have obtained their objective as well. Because if you move the country forward, persons benefit, everybody benefit, including those who they wanted to benefit, right? But unfortunately, I don't think we have the mindset to do that.
I want to talk about your move to establish a new movement in the political arena, the DNA.
All right.
And whether you see it now as failure, whether you see it as success, what happened, what went wrong, and where are we today? We're going to talk about that when we come back after the break.
Good.
Stay with us. You're watching The Rundown with Branville McCartney. We're back after this.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Hi, Phil Swift here for the Flex Seal family of flood protection products. Our flood protection products are specifically designed to work together in order to create multiple layers of super strong protection. All these windows, doors, seams, and openings have all been sealed up tight. Now there's a new way to protect your home or business from damaging floodwaters. Get the removable Flex Seal family of flood protection products.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exoma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass that along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Imagine a training hub for career, technical, and vocational excellence. A center that transforms academics to application, preparing confident, competent, and competitive future leaders. An institution that benchmarks industry best practices and can serve as a feeder to reduce employment gaps right here in the Bahamas. Welcome to the Bahamas Polytechnic Accreditation and Training Hub, BPATH, which is that institution and will transform the face of career and technical education and training in the Bahamas forever. Here, hands-on learning and real-work problem-solving collide to create an explosion of critical analysis and collaboration. Students' interests and giftedness will align with a diverse base of programs intended to prepare them to continue studies or enjoy tertiary-level training and future employment. Our Construction Academy will expose students to the art of furniture making, drywall installation, electrical installation, and HVAC, while our Automotive Academy will address hybrid and electrical vehicles, including the logistics of fleet management. The Information Technology and Coding programs are most exciting and will provide a nudge to our budding programmers and AI creators and challenge them to create the next best creative venture. And who better to tell the story of BPATH other than the students in the Academy of Communications, who will explore the creativity of effective storytelling and the media available to offer such stories for consumption. Our Academy of Sustainability will explore sustainability through agriculture, food preservation, and indigenous entrepreneurship. While advanced skills training is paramount, a critical component of this institution will be the professional credentialing of our students, who will enter to be trained and exit to excel. Having completed 2 years of dual enrollment intense, advanced training, and satisfying the expected outcomes, graduates will personify excellence, career, and technical education and training, building bridges, closing gaps, one student at a time. These are indeed exciting times in education.
Welcome back to The Rundown. My guest tonight is Branville McCartney, and we're having a very interesting discussion. And in this segment, I want to talk about the DNA, which he was a founding leader, but we're going to learn some interesting things about this. You became leader of the DNA as an independent. You were an independent member in Parliament.
Correct.
You had moved from the FNM to being independent.
All right.
Why did you leave the FNM to become independent?
There are a number of issues. I think the last straw was the sale of the BPL. And it was something that all members or
BTC.
BTC, sorry, BTC. BTC. All members were supposed to agree, and I couldn't agree with that.
Why?
Who we were selling it to, the cost of the sale, and the right thing to do in a Westminster system. If you cannot agree,
that's the honorable thing.
You step down. I couldn't agree with the leadership of the F&M at the time, and so I stepped down.
BDC hasn't been the same since.
It's never been the same.
Do you still believe that you did make the right decision?
Absolutely. No regrets. Absolutely. I mean, listen, the facts speak for themselves as to BTC as it is now. Period. End of story. So I stepped down, became an independent member, and over the course of a few months, several persons approached me, and you know, there was never any thought of starting a party or anything, but several persons approached me, and it was about 13 persons. We got together and we formed the DNA.
So it wasn't your idea?
I did not form the DNA it wasn't Branville McCartney.
It wasn't you?
No, it was a group of persons. I was the only one out of that group who was in the House of Assembly. And during that period of time, it was, they made me leader, right? And so the DNA was formed, and I think at the end of the day, we made history. We were formed 11 months prior to the election of 2012, I think it was, and we garnered, within 11 months, we ran a full slate and garnered about, I think, over 8% of the vote.
That perhaps was the best elections.
It was the best.
Every election since, they've done worse.
Yeah.
What happened? Why you moved away?
Well, the first election cycle, we were not successful. And I remained a leader of the party. We went into the next election cycle, I think it was, again, in 2017. And we were not successful. Now, under the DNA's constitution, you could only be leader of that party for 2 terms.
You can't go any more than 2 terms.
Can't go any more. I was one of the persons who crafted the Constitution, so I craft myself right out of being a leader, you know. But be it as it may, it was based on the fact that had the DNA become the government, although we don't have the law of 2 terms for...
You would have created something.
It was in the constitution of that party, and you could have only been prime minister for 2 terms.
2 terms.
Anyway, we had the same scenario when it comes down to leadership. So after the 2017 election, I had no other choice but to step down. A lot of people said, well, boy, you stepped down, you quit, blah, 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 blah. That was certainly not the case. That was part of the constitution of the DNA.
You then had an interim leader.
We had an interim leader who was Chris Mortimer. And then they had a convention, and Kamalafi became and was successful in becoming the leader. Then there was an election after that. DNA is not successful. I think Kamalafi stepped down, and your guess is as good as mine as to what's happening with the DNA.
Is it still existing?
Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to DNA. I don't know. I don't know.
So we don't know whether we'll see the DNA in the upcoming general election.
I haven't heard anything about it, which is very, very unfortunate. The DNA had a very, very good platform. But unfortunately, it is what it is.
What do you think went wrong? It really went downhill. Marinta Komalafe took the helm, and then there were so many issues coming out of leadership there and issues there. What do you think went wrong? Why the DNA, which which initially presented itself as perhaps a viable third option. And people started believing, okay, maybe there could be a third party after all.
Right.
What do you think killed that?
The Bahamian people.
Why do you say the Bahamian people?
People, they don't like change. It's as simple as that. The mindset of the Bahamian people, they don't like change. They stuck on stupid, period. And that's why we are where we are in this country today. They don't like change, and they settle for mediocrity, right? They settle for mediocrity. They don't like change.
Is that a Bahamian thing or is that an international thing? Because world over, two-party systems seem to be dominating in most countries.
Not really. You've had in England, you've had three parties.
Coalitions.
You've had coalitions
parties.
in Canada, same thing.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the government in Canada now, I think, is a coalition party, right?
Canada and UK.
Yeah. And other countries, you have a number of different parties in the in Parliament, right? Some of them collating together. So in close to us, the United States, you have the Democrats and the Republican, and that's what we hear and we see all the time. But around the world, they have other parties. The bottom line is, our Bahamian people, where's the camera? This one here? Our Bahamian people, we need to get out of this rut. At the end of the day, we need to know your worth and be in a position where change sometimes is good. Change is good. And as I always used to say, you know, if you keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, it's insanity. And that's where we've been for quite some time.
The Coalition of Independents believe they're now the third party that is presenting a viable option. They believe that they can get support. Do you think so?
I would hope so. But I would hope so. I would hope so. You know, and I think, you know, they've been bringing a lot of things to the forefront. But, you know, the support comes from the people. And like I said, listen, man, when I was in the DNA, persons would say, boy, Bran, we got you, man. And they would come out and all this foolishness and, Jesus, election day, man, they don't even talk to you. They don't even talk to you, man. They wear yellow or red, and they walk right past you. They listen, to answer your question, the COI is the other party in the arena now. I would love to see them make some good traction and be in the House of Assembly in some form or fashion. I think it'll be good for our country.
Third parties try to be the big boys too soon instead of just focusing on perhaps maybe one or two constituencies where they can get the support. They try to run a full slate, spread themselves too thin, and at the end of the day, they may pick up a number of votes, but when you look at each constituency, it's never enough to win a constituency. Should there be a focus on a constituency?
I think it should be a focus all around because the mindset of the Bahamian people say, man, you only running
you ain't serious.
People, you ain't serious. I ain't gonna waste my vote here because you're gonna win, you're gonna be the government in any event, so I ain't gonna waste my vote. I go, you know.
Right. Very, very.
And so it's best to try run as many people as possible. In the DNA, we ran a full slate, you know, and but that didn't help. That didn't help either. So it's no, you know, we need to. We just need our mindset as Bahamian people need to change, you know, and I think if that happens, I think we could see our country progress a bit more. But until then, we could be stuck in the same rut over and over again, each different election cycle, you know, and hopefully, well, I don't know. Next question.
I'm going to turn. You know where I'm going. I'm going to turn to it. I'm going to turn to it. You came out after a long time not in front line, you talking about politics. You came out and you endorsed the F&M.
No. You're talking about the leadership run?
Yes.
No, I supported Dr. Hubert Minnis.
You supported Dr. Minnis?
Dr. Minnis. That was a leadership run.
So that to
June of last year.
So to you, you were separating him from your support for the party then?
Well, I'm not part of the F&M anymore.
Do you support the F&M?
No, I support what is good for this country, whether it's part of the PLP, F&M, or otherwise, the COI or otherwise. I want to see what's good for the country. At that time, how it came about, I was asked, out of the leaders of the country, who do you think would be better? The leaders of the country at the time was Michael Pintard and Hubert Minnis running for leader of the F&M. And of course, the Prime Minister, Brave Davis, was there. So basically, three. In my view, Dr. Minnis was the better man.
Why do you believe he was better?
I think he had to deal with circumstances that no other prime minister had to deal with, and he got a bad rap. These Bahamian people decided to say he locked us down, you know? And if he didn't lock you down, some of y'all wouldn't have been here to even talk about it, you know? But that's just the psyche of the Bahamian people. I go back to that. He had to deal with 2 hurricanes. He had to deal with the pandemic, and at the same time, he still maintained the economy. Certain things that this administration, quite frankly, is dealing with today is based on the Minnis, what the Minnis administration had put there. So I thought he got a bad break, quite frankly, and I think he ought to have had another opportunity. So when Dr. Minnis was running for the leadership, I supported him. Not that I was part of the F&M. I supported Dr. Minnis. All right?
He didn't win?
No.
Do you believe that was a missed opportunity for the F&M?
Yes. Yeah. I go back to, I think Dr. Minnis would be the best person at this stage.
You still believe that?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Your view of him being the better person to lead, obviously you're not the only one in the F&M. He has his supporters in the party who believe the same thing. That's dangerous going into a general election where a party still almost appears to be divided as to who should lead.
Oh, well, the party has a leader now.
Right.
The question that was asked is whether what I believe. The party has a leader. They have to, going into the election, they have to all go behind their leader, support their leader, to move forward to be a formidable opponent in the upcoming election.
Do you think?
So they've had a convention that has been set. The party has determined who they want. The leader's Michael Pintard, and that's who they need to follow and support.
Do you think he has the ability to win an election, Michael Pintard?
Yes, I think so. I think he can win. No doubt, I think he can win. And that will be determined in the next few months, you know? But yes, I think he has the ability.
Do you foresee Dr. Minnis being a part of running with the F&M? He appears not to be backing off and saying, I'm done with politics. He wants to run in his seat in Killarney.
F&M would be foolish not to run him.
You think so?
Absolutely. Why? Why wouldn't you want to run a man who is in Killarney, who's been there, I think, this is going to be his 4th or 5th time running, who's well liked, who will win? Who will win? Why don't you want to run him?
If they
the bottom line is, you know, Dr. Minnis, why wouldn't you want to run Dr. Minnis? I think it will be a detriment to the F&M. And they'll be handing the election to the PLP if they don't do that.
If they don't run Dr. Minnis, do you think they will regret it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because, you know,
why would you be so foolish not to run him? Why would you be so foolish not to run him? If you got some personal, look, man, let me go back to this thing. This is politics. If you got some personal beef, keep that to yourself. You need to win. You need to try win an election, right? You will regret it if that doesn't happen. And I don't see any reason why it should. What's the problem? I don't know. I asked that same question today to a F&M senior man. What the hell is the problem?
What was your answer?
He don't know either. What the hell? I mean, be real now. You know, don't get personal. This ain't about personality. This is about if they want to try and win an election. You don't know how it'll turn out, but if they want to try and win an election, don't be foolish and do things that will split the party or cause dissension within the party. You need to come together. You need to come together and fight the next election. Otherwise, dog eat your lunch. Bray will have you for lunch. No doubt about that.
We're going to take our final break.
No doubt about that.
We're back after this to run down.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
I am a master plumber by profession. I've been doing plumbing for over 40 odd years. When I was 9 months old, I was diagnosed with polio. To me, living with polio, I took it the way it is. I never allowed my polio to get in my way of anything. In fact, I love when people doubt me, and I just prove them wrong. And let me tell you, in the world, you could only find a plumber as good as me, but you ain't gonna find no plumber better than me. People with disability, they just need a chance. In this program, I feel so encouraged. Most of the mentors have different kind of disability, but disabilities like me. Sharing and caring and showing so much support with people with disability. They would encourage you to go beyond. I wish this was around a long time ago. Right now, I would have been a millionaire. You out there who have a disability, don't be afraid. Take the step. If you believe it, you could achieve it. And remember one thing, ain't no one better than me, and ain't no one better than y'all. God made all us equal.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Welcome back to The Rundown. We're in the final moments of the show. My guest has been Branville McCartney. We've been having a very candid discussion tonight on politics and his role in DNA, his support for Dr. Hubert Minnis. And I guess the only question that's left to ask is, will you run again or are you done?
I've learned one thing, I was a magistrate many years ago, and I learned it through several cases I presided over. You never say never.
Right.
But at this stage, you know, I honestly just want to see what is good for the country. I'm not getting into frontline politics at this stage or for this next election cycle. But you never say never. But at this stage, I'm not getting into it. What I see and what I think about every day, though, is what is good for the country. We have a government that's in now. I want to see this government do well, because if the government does well, the country does well.
What is it with us as Bahamians, right? Because of our political affiliances, support, we can't. It's hard to say, I want a government to do well, because I live in the Bahamas, I want it to succeed, but we feel as if we're betraying because that may not be the government I voted for, and then there's this concern as if, you know, can you really say it, or are you betraying an administration because you say you support them? Should, as Bahamians, we not want to see our government succeed?
You should, but I'll use that term again about Bahamians and how they think. Unfortunately, they're stuck on stupid. They're stuck on stupid. If you have a government that's in, you must want to see, whether it's the party you support or not, you want the best for that government, and you want them to do the best, because if they succeed, the country succeeds, right? That's the bottom line. Now, when it comes down to the election cycle and stuff like that, you deal with that. But you ought to support, quite frankly, and encourage, advise where you can, any administration that's in, to do good. Because if they do good, you do good, the country will do good. When the PLP won the last time, I said, man, I said it on the show, I said, look, I wish them well. I hope they do well. I still hope they do well. They have done well in certain circumstances, and in other circumstances they haven't, just like any other administration, right? But us Bahamians as a whole, if you support a different party, and that party is not in government, and if that party does, the governing party does something good, they can't find it within themselves to say, man, I think that was a good initiative. I applaud the government. I encourage the government to keep moving forward in that regard. They can't do it. The majority of Bahamians can't do it because, like you say, man, I'm a big general in this party. I can't be saying that publicly. But it ain't about party at the end of the day. It ain't about who you support as a political party. It's about the country, man. It's this little small country. This little small country that could be so more advanced. It's all about the country first, not party, you know, not party. I give an example too. When I was in the F&M and I became the member of parliament for Bamboo Town, the headquarters was painted the colors of the F&M. Now, I initiated several programs, and I realized certain people not coming, especially the seniors, right? So, and I had made it a point. I said, man, if I ever got in, man, I'm going to have this program for the seniors and so on and so forth. I noticed some of them were not coming. So I went and I asked, and, you know, they had in their mind, well, you want under the F&M, your headquarters is painted the F&M colors. So they felt that they couldn't come there.
Wow.
But the bottom line is, I became the MP for Bamboo Town, whether you're PLP, F&M, independent, or otherwise, I represent anyone. So you know what I did? I changed the color of the constituency office to olive green, just before DNA now.
Right.
To the olive green. And
I remember that.
Senior citizens start start coming in, because I represented everyone, whether you voted for me or not. I was the MP for everybody, and you talk about politics. That was some of the best times I've had when I was in politics. Every Friday, had something by my headquarters for the senior citizens. They wanted to ensure that I had their red wine, because it's good for the heart. You know, had that red wine there, but we had food, we had drinks, we had games, you know. And, you know, I actually learned things I could not read in a book.
Wow.
Because those seniors who were there, they taught me about the Bahamas of old. They taught me about life, you know? And I think I got more out of it than they did.
My final question would you simply be this. Do you believe we're too divided as a nation?
I think the politics, and we go back, same thing from the beginning, I think politics infiltrates too much of our thinking. And I guess it's because we're a small country, but I think politics blurs our view as to what is best for the country. Like I said, if you're an F&M and the PLP has done something good, you can't find them saying anything good about the PLP. And vice versa, you can't find the PLP saying anything good about the F&M if they did good in at their time. And that's wrong. As a matter of fact, that's immature. That's like little children on the playground. If you do something good, if you started some initiative and it's working and it's benefiting the country, you don't, when you get in, dismantle it.
Right.
You build on it and you give the credit to who started it. That's how it should be done. But these, oh, Jesus, Clint. It's ridiculous, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
We gotta hope it gets better. Sir, thank you for coming on the Rundown.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much for the invite.
It's always a pleasure talking with you.
My pleasure.
Some good words of thought tonight.
Yeah.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir.
That does it for the Rundown. Be sure to stay locked on the ZNS Network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's the final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with Royston Jones. He's right over there in the building getting ready for the 11 o'clock news over there. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.
At Fort Montague, I'm Opal Roach. This is ZNS.
The theme for World Teachers Day 2024 was valuing teacher voices towards a new social contract for education.